All right. So, for all my warriors in here, time to get started. Today, I'm talking about the default program. You're always on a program, guys. I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but you're always on a program. You've been on a program the entire time. It doesn't matter what it is in mind, heart, body, spirit, whether it's workout and fitness, whether it's going to be mindset and growth, whether it's going to be relationships and heart side connection, whether it's working on your purpose and figuring out your things. You're always doing a program. You're always on one. You're like, I don't think so, Rick. This is the first time I've done a program. I've never done a program before. Oh, yes, you have. Some of you guys who are like, I don't work out. I'm not on any workout program. I'm like, no, you're on the eat shit and don't take care of you and don't work out program. That's still a program. You're getting results, guys. You're always going to get a result. Every choice that you make is giving you results. And remember, we talked about choices already. We talked about how does this work? You've been on a program the whole time, and the results of the life that you have right now is based on the program that you've created. You guys are all creators. Very exciting, right? Very exciting stuff. You guys are program designers. You've been working on this for a while. So, what's your program? That's the conversation that we're going to have today. What is your program? Your default program? What is the autopilot system? What is the choices I make subconsciously? How aware are you of the things that you do? How aware? Now, this is the same rules as WTF. I want you to write it. Don't fight it. I want you to go like, what do I even see it first? This is the starter location of where you are. So start looking at the categories of yourself that you can start going, am I aware of? I want you to look for things like I want you to catch behaviors. Catch behaviors. This is a category I want you to, can you catch them? How often do you get triggered? What are things that upset you? How often do I try to control others, or do I try and control what others are allowed to think, see, feel, interact with me? What are some of the triggers and the behaviors that I'm doing where like I catch myself doing this? How often do you yell at people in traffic? How often do you allow something happen in your day to ruin your day? What are some of the behaviors you do? Also, in these behaviors, like what are some of the things where I catch myself often doom scrolling, or I'm going to catch myself doing some bullshit. I'm going to catch myself in something where like I'm wasting time. How much do I make excuses? What behaviors do I have around excuses? How many behaviors can you just catch? How much can you catch? This is just an awareness. You guys, there's thousands of them a day. All right. How about your belief systems? Can you catch your belief systems? Can you catch it? Can you catch your belief systems? Can you catch the fact that I am not good enough, or I believe that I'm an idiot, or I'm not enough this, or I'm too much that, or this is never going to work for me? And start catching some of the ways you talk to yourself. What are things you believe around the world? What do you believe around you? What do you believe about your people? What do you believe around your possibility and your potential? What are things that you believe? People think belief systems is religion. It's everything. It's not just religion. It's going to be everything. Everything. Do you believe your shirt is cool? Do you believe that you're funny? Like these are just beliefs. I believe this. We've talked about beliefs not requiring facts over and over. So now we're going to get into more of this. Like, well, if they don't require facts, what beliefs do you have? We got to just go see what are they? What are your habits? What are habits that you know you do? Some of them may be beneficial and some of them may not be beneficial at all. Some of you guys have bad habits that you know you have a cognitive dissonance around. Like, I know smoking's not good, but I still smoke. Or I know that drinking alcohol every night's not good, but I still do it. What are the habits? What are your just that's what I do for coping. That's what I do for my personal outlet because I don't know how to deal with these things. Do you see? Like, what are the vices that you know you know? What do you have? What are those things that are there? What are the auto reactions? These are the ones like I really want you guys to focus on. Like, what are the things I think about the most and then I get reactive? My controls: fight, flight, freeze, fawn. What are the things that I get triggered by the most? The thing that catches my attention the most? I want to see. I want to see what do you got? What do you got in this category where you can catch like, these things grind my gears. Oh, that makes me angry. Whenever I see this, ooh, you're like, okay, what are you doing there? What is this program you're on? Are you spreading hate program? What are you doing here? You gonna throw out how the world's wrong and you're right? Is that the control system program you're on? Okay, I'm curious to see what default program you have here. So watch your reactions and how did you handle situations, guys? How aware are you of what I would call the Epictetus compass that's coming up, which is the circumstances that are happening. How did you reveal you to yourself and how you handled it? How many of you call people names? How many of you talk behind people's backs? How many of you guys do things that you wouldn't be proud of or excited about if someone did it to you? What are these things? Do you see them? What are things that you do? How many of you guys are just mean as fuck to yourselves? What's the self talk you do? How many of you guys look in the mirror and you're mean? That's the default program. No, who fucking taught you that? Why is that there? What is this thing? Start paying attention to the stuff that you're doing. Start looking at like, what is it that I do? Because these behaviors, these beliefs, these habits, these reactions, these things are where your starting location is at. This is where you're starting. This is the beginning. This is where, like, if you're doing a GPS and I go, where do I want to go? It'll say, well, where are you? So I can make sure I get the best path to where you want to go. You can't start your GPS without a home location. You have to have a location that's like, this is where my beginning spot is so I can get to here. If we're all across America, just as an example, just, that's where we're at. I'm near Chicago. Some of you are near in Florida. Some of you are in California. Some of you are up north. Some of you are down south. And we're all trying to get to Kansas City, which is right in the middle. We can't all take the same road to get to that place. Even though the destination is the same, we're all at different starting locations. So this is really important to know, well, what's your beginning location? Well, what's that got to do with me trying to have a better life? What's that got to do with me having a better life? The reason why is because when you're on your journey, if you know where you began and you know where you're going, there's going to be times in your journey that you start going this way and or this way. Am I going toward where I want to go, or am I going back to where I started? And you can start watching yourself going back and forth because now you know what your default is. And I'm trying to figure out how to change my default into being a better standard. The goal of what we're going to do is make your trained responses, your like the control element of responses, because you got your reactions, you got your responses. I want my responses to start becoming more like my reactions, trained or untrained. Anybody who's ever done any type of skill, I don't care if it's martial arts or driving or, playing a sport or anything where you have to practice the muscle memory of repetition. At first, it's really weird and you have to focus and really like, I got to really pay attention to this. But the more that you do it, the more it becomes just, that's just what I do. You don't even think about it. After a while, that's just a regular response. You're not going through all of it. I don't care if it's a golf swing, throwing a ball. I don't care what it is. You're going to start getting used to it and it becomes second nature. I want to be able to train your default program, your second nature, to be a trained response that you are like, I know how to handle this situation. I don't freak out over this. I don't get mad over this. I'm not going to let something else be a master over me and control me over this. You're going to have a response system as your automatic default program, trained or untrained. That's the way we operate. And we're going to work on this muscle first. We got to work on your big muscle first. This is what the assignment is this week, is I want you guys to catch you. Catch me. Yeah, catch you. You're on a program right now. Do you know what you're on? Make this list of things that you're going to find available to you all day. Make it available to you all day because you're going to be in the middle of doing something. You'd be like, oh, this thing, like this damn thing, and blah, blah, blah. You're like, did you just blame a thing for being a thing? You're like, damn it, I did just blame a thing for being, put it on the list. And you're going to want to have access to like, oh, I just did this, or oh, I just subconsciously did this, or my default was this. And just catch it. Catch that. Put it on the list. Don't do anything yet. Some of you will start doing stuff, but it's not required yet. And just start catching, this is what I know I do. This is what I know I do. I can see I do that. I can see I put her on a pedestal. Well, why do you do that? I apologize a lot. Well, how many times a day do you say sorry? I say sorry like 30 times a fucking day. You're like, That's a lot of apologies. That's a lot of shame. Is it really necessary for you to learn? Why do you do this? Do you see it? Do you I just need you to go like, dang, there's your default program. Are you more secure or insecure? What are those things? What do you got? Just do you see what you do? That's it. You don't have to do anything different first. Just do you at least know you do it before we start bullshitting that you're doing great? I got it all together. I'm like, do you though? Let's take a look at how you treat your day and let's see how aware you are of you. So, this week's assignment, check your autopilot system. Where the hell is it going? And that shows you all of the things that you're doing right now is you being trained to do it that way. This is your autopilot. This is what you have determined is the best way to live so far. And just take a look at it. This is me doing my damn best. No one's waking up trying to fuck up their life. This is my best so far. Well, let's take a look at what your best looks like as we get started. So that way we can start making, here's the destination of what better would be, because I know what I have when I started. So now I can choose a path that goes to where I want to be, something authentic, something that's mine. A lot of you are going to find your belief systems that you use aren't even yours. Well, let's catch them. So that way we can start training to make them more authentic. All right, warriors. Let's hear from you guys today. I want to hear from you guys today. I want to keep it on topic too. Don't go way off into the weeds. So if you guys start going like, all right, so listen, my girlfriend told me that shopping is for bitches. And I'm like, listen, no, keep it on topic. Give me something where like, man, I'm catching my default program. I'm catching something where like my autopilot, son of a bitch, even just in the first 10 seconds, I caught myself doing this thing. I blame people a lot, or I apologize a lot, or I, do this thing a lot. And I want to catch you guys in that so we can start going good, good, good. Get this thing on paper so we can work forward. All right, Paul Hess, good to see you again, man. After last night, I know
Hey,
that was a wild ride. So good to hang with you. What's going on, brother? What do you got?
definitely. One thing, sorry for background noise. My one of the things I've been catching lately is half listening to conversations, and I'm trying to figure out how to get myself out of that pattern. So being a more active listener when I'm having conversations with
What what do what
anybody
do
and everybody.
what do you mean, Paul? Just so I don't misinterpret you, like you multitask while people are talking?
Like you start a topic, and I'll get a response on like the first couple sentences, and then the mind can capture that and run off with that
Ah,
into
good, good,
different
good.
directions.
I want to give you a tool for this. I do this too. I think everybody does this. I'll give you an example, Paul. If we were talking and like the first thing I said was like something triggering, like the first thing I was like, fucking, you're an idiot, Paul. Let me just tell you how it works. And then from that moment on, you're like, did this motherfucker just call me an idiot? Like you'll just be on that. Though everything I say after that could be really beneficial or really helpful or really useful to you. Everything after that could be the answer you were looking on, but I'm still on. I'm about to kick this motherfucker's ass for calling me an idiot. Like I got stuck on idiot. Like I stuck there. I got jammed. And is that one of the things that's happening where like as soon as I catch that thought, I'm like a pit bull on a thought. I'm like, I'm not letting go of that. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, in some cases, that's
Okay.
certainly that.
So what I do, if you ever have you ever watched my podcast? You ever see me on the show?
Yeah.
Have you noticed I'm always writing when these people are talking?
Uh, yeah, I never really see the hands. Usually I'm just
But,
listening.
but you
So,
see me like this, like while they're talking, I'm like this. You see me do that, right? There
mhm.
is no way when these people stack their conversations that I can keep up with it. Now, if you've ever listened to me, I also break their shit down. I'm like, okay, so you said this, and then this thing is connected to that, which does this thing, and which this is why this is doing this. Are you even seeing that too? And they're like, holy shit, you just broke my shit down. Because they said five different topics, and then I put them together to make it make some damn sense. I have to write when people talk, Paul, because people are all over the fucking place. So it's a trick that I do that I encourage you to do too. I do this if my girl and I are having a deep misunderstanding. I'm like, baby, I got to write it down because you're all over the fucking place. So let me write this so that way I can listen. And when I'm doing something that I'm actively trying to just catch these things, you don't have to lock in on that first thought because I already wrote it down and I can just jump back to it. You see, so now I can go to the next thought, the next thought, the next thought, and I still have that other one written down so I don't have to lose it. Do you see the trick?
Yeah, I do.
I have to do this too, man. People go all over the damn place, especially people who talk in stories. I'm like, where the fuck are we going, man? Like, I don't know where this train rides. And so I have to write down the key points. Otherwise, I get lost in my own responses, listening to them talk about 10 different things. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it does.
Yeah, this is later on. I call this finding your fighting style. Each of us listens or responds in a different way. So find a style of doing this. It could be like record the conversation. It could be write it and then be able to go back to it. There's whatever style helps you catch the information or not get jammed up. It's just figuring out your authentic style. And so Paul, part of the default that your defense is like, or default program is I automatically will catch on to one thought. Okay, well, how do I catch as many thoughts as possible? Because it's, people just talk too much. Rick's doing it right now.
Mhm.
So
All right. Makes sense.
Paul's like, I'm still on. He called me an idiot. Like, no, so try that. I do it on purpose. I'm very open with it. And if anybody's asking, like, why are you doing that? Like, hey, why are you writing that? Be very open and authentic about your intention. It's because what you're saying is important to me, and I want to make sure I don't miss anything.
Hmm. Yeah, no, I'm running into this with my partner, and it's like you're not listening, you're not processing anything I'm saying, and so it's
So you got to write it
how do
down.
we
It's a good thing. If you want
present with that?
if you want the
Okay.
advanced version, Paul, I know the signal's a little rough. If you want the advanced version, you write down what they say and then repeat it back until they go, yes, that's exactly what I mean.
Yeah,
Now,
I
if you,
brought that up the other day,
yeah,
so we'll start really mirroring
it's, let me tell you, if you have a wife or is it a woman? Who are you with?
my wife. Yeah.
Good. Gonna give you a little bit here just for you guys. I'm just letting you know how this has gone because I work with couples. JJ, I don't know if you guys have tried this, but if you work with a couple and they got their women there, if you write down all of their things, you'll probably get a stack of 5 different topics, all connected to frustration or all connected to irritation or whatever the topic that they've emotionally connected to. And then you go, okay, babe, so you said this thing about this thing. Is that what you meant? Just get ready because there will be a whole new stack of things that comes out of nowhere that means something totally different from the very first thing. So the first thing doesn't actually mean what it means. It'll just open up another stack of 5 or 6 things that are completely unrelated to that. That means the other 4 or 5 things that you had on the list we never get to. And then you'll go, okay, on the new list, you said this thing here. What did you mean by that? And it's going to be something also completely unrelated to what was said. Just be aware that there's going to be a lot of this that just turns into venting. And then you're going to have to go, are there any of these that you actually want to work on? And then she's going to go, I don't think so. And then you'll just technically win by doing nothing. It's a very funny system. Here's an even funnier one for her. If she starts writing what you say, the game is how much did you add for me? Yeah, Dan knows. How much did you just add to what I just said? So if I was like, babe, I don't think it's good for us to do that because that would, be bad for the kids. And then she'll go, so what you're saying is you just want to get away with things and think that you're the boss of everybody. And I'm like, nope, you added all that shit. That's nope, write down the thing I said, not what you just said. You just added stuff. You see what I
I'm having
mean?
that fun. Yeah.
Don't get defensive on shit that's added. I've even had in our conversations where I write it down for her and then I write it down, I slide it across the table and go, that's my actual thoughts. So that way you can't add to it. Just whenever you're adding, just read the words and see like what you're saying isn't in there. It's tricky.
Yeah.
This is why the writing is so useful because we're trying to listen, but people think that making noise is the same as making sense. It's not. Making noise does not mean we're making sense. Okay? So it's good for you to go like, okay, let's try and make some sense of this and be clear in what it is. It's a good trick. It's a good trick for you to break the default program of just latching on to the first thing and then missing a whole bunch of stuff.
Right.
This is not easy. It's simple,
No,
not easy. It's very
no,
difficult to practice.
I tend to gloss over things anyway, so it's a general characteristics of how do I
Yeah.
recapture that.
Practice, practice, practice. I'm looking forward to seeing how you do, bro.
Yeah, thank you.
You got this. All right, Bobby Christensen, what's your default program question? See if you can unmute. Bobby.
You did. Okay, sorry, had to park. Um,
Yes, say sorry again.
oh my
Like you
gosh.
mean it. Whatever that
uh,
means.
um, okay, so uh, I already recognize it's one of my coping. It's one of my the default programming. It was I went to porn and it devolved into chat rooms and stuff, and I've I've done I think really well until last night, but my wife and I kind of got into it the other day about something and that, and then she left yesterday to go on her little mini vacation with her mom,
Mm-hmm.
and all my kids stayed the night at other people's houses last night, and so like it was, I guess, a vulnerable position for me, and I
When
had
the
already
when the cat's away, the mice will play, Bobby.
but I had previously talked to Dan about it during the day, and I knew like I it was already there. I was like, I'm really worried that I'm going to go home and do this, and I haven't done it in months, and I was like, but I'm really worried, and the whole way home, I'm telling myself, this is wrong. You shouldn't do anything like this. This is not an honorable thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not good to your wife. If your wife was doing this, you would be pissed and you'd
Sure.
be extremely hurt. So why is this a good idea? And then I went home and did it. I was up till 4 in the morning.
Okay, so let's stop right there. You said, why is this a good idea? And then you just skip that, like after that. You just jumped right past that to like, I was up to 4 a.m. Like, why didn't you answer the question?
Uh,
You're like, if my wife did this, I wouldn't like it. Why is this a good idea? And then you just left that. You didn't answer the question. Like, why is it a good idea? Why would you do that?
I don't know why I didn't answer it. Maybe I thought that all
Answer the question,
the,
Bobby. Answer the
oh,
question. Why is it a good idea to cheat on your wife by talking to other women?
it's not. It's a terrible freaking decision.
All right, cool. So now you can see it very clearly. Well, you can either do something that you would probably consider a deal breaker or not, and don't do that. Like the choice gets very simple at that point because you answered the question. Like, this is not a good thing. So then your choice becomes very, very obvious. Well, which one do you want to do? The thing that would be considered a betrayal against you, or it's totally okay to be betraying other people? That's the kind of guy I am. Which,
No, I don't want to do that.
well, then
Why did I?
don't. Well, why did you then? What were you trying
Right.
to do? You chose to do it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't
Right.
accidentally fall into another pussy. Like, I
No,
don't, I
no.
don't do that on accident. That's not a slip and fall. It's not a banana peel.
Right.
And so there's a choice. Why do you choose that? Just so you know, Stacks and I are actually working really hard on this one. Chris and I have talked pretty at depth of this last few weeks. I don't believe that pornography is necessarily falls under addiction because has anybody here ever looked at porn and then after they're done and didn't look at porn, you've got like fucking shake withdrawals and you're fucking meat sweats and like you're just now because I need to see a nipple or I'm not gonna fucking make it. Like, and you're sitting there rocking in your chair because you haven't seen enough bouncing asses for 30 minutes. Like, you're not doing that. We don't have withdrawals from this. It's an entertainment thing. It's one of those things where you're like all fucked up because like I just like the dopamine hit. I like to look at it's like looking at something pretty or something. It's nice to see, right? That's not an addiction. It's like looking at paintings. Like that's not an addiction. It's just shit that's enjoyable. I got it. But doing certain behavior crosses the line from looking at paintings versus trying to talk to a painting salesperson, trying to talk
Right.
to a dealer. It's a very different thing when you're doing price checks than when you're just admiring the artwork. So, what are you trying to get? And this may be an awareness thing for you that helps you stop doing it. So, don't add the shame to it. This is something important. You may need to find a default unmet need in yourself that's you're missing from your relationship. There may be something there that you're missing that may end up becoming a request for you and your relationship to work on, or something that you need to add to the relationship to make it stronger. Something where, like when you listen, maybe these people who you're talking to, which is most likely a dude you're talking to, just so you can know how fucking awesome what you're doing is. It's probably a dude who just runs her chat room. And so you're talking to some other person, but what are you getting from it? Like, real talk, Bobby. Like, what do you get? Do you get attention? Do you get gratification? Do you feel heard? Do you feel important? Like, what are you getting that you're like, this is not what I get other places and I get it here? What are you getting?
Um, I think that the close, not really closeness. It's a fucked up idea of closeness, but the part of like feeling desired or wanted, I guess, would
Right.
be
So I want to feel wanted. I want to feel desired. That's what you want, right?
right.
All right. So what in your relationship is making it so you don't feel wanted and required and desired? What would you have as a request of, baby, this is the thing I really enjoy about us, and this is a piece that's missing for me. A lot of women, if you guys have a good woman, if
How's
you're
it going?
able to articulate your shit, it's really not that crazy.
No.
Bobby, you tell them you're on a call with me right now. Let them know. You're in the middle. You're in the middle. It's your show right now.
I'm listening. You're in my ear.
So, Bobby, what's the thing that you need? I need to feel desired and wanted. Okay. Are you doing things to make you desirable or wanted? Are you being romantic? Are you giving the attention? Are you trying to emotionally give currency to the relationship? Like, are you doing things that you used to do to make you wanted? Do you take self care and make you wantable? Like, what do you want to be wanted for? Like, these are the things where I'm telling you, rabbit hole your own thing and go, what the fuck am I fucking doing, man? Why am I doing that shit? What do I want or need from that thing? Do you see what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
doing it for a reason, but your autopilot is not being questioned. Your default program is not being challenged enough to go like, what the fuck am I doing this for? You're just like autopilot. I'm about to stay up till 4 a.m. getting attention.
And I know I've been doing this since I was a kid. Like I found this stuff when I was real young, and it seemed like anything that went bad in life, that was the easy. I'd go here, get dopamine, or however it was, or I guess attention I wasn't getting at home.
I want attention. I want attention. Now you got transactional dynamics here. I want attention through, I have to what? I have a subscription or pay something or whatever it would be. I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to tell me.
It's nothing that you pay. I don't know any of these people. There's nothing. It's just an online thing. It's a free thing, right?
Okay. And if let's just say I'm getting the attention from other people and I really like their attention. Um, all right, you guys, this may be advanced, but I'm going to put it out there for all of you, okay? This is an advanced thing for you, but I want to see how aware you guys of yourself. So feel free, even new guys, to take this challenge on, okay? What is insecurity? Self insecurity, other people insecurity. Don't tell me right now because I know that you guys you did not process this very far. Just going, I think it's just this thing. Write this shit out because I got pages today that I wrote on it. Bobby, what is insecurity? How do I do it to myself? How do I project it onto others? How does it work? And I want you guys to really go inward and go, what is it? What is this thing? Because if I need to get gratification externally because I don't feel okay as me, what's the disconnect? What's the insecurity? What's the thing I need external validation because I don't have enough internal validation? I want you to follow this fucking rabbit trail. I want you to Hansel and Gretel that shit to the fucking gingerbread house. I want you to go, where does this go? because there's a thing in there that needs to be, there's a witch that needs to be pushed in the oven. There's a thing that needs to be fucking taken care of. There's something in there, but if you don't know what it is, you're on autopilot and don't even know why you're about to get a fucking divorce because you can't stop doing a thing because you don't know why you even do it. That's your mission. Look at the default program around an insecurity that I'm trying to fulfill from something that is fucking poisonous from my fucking 12-year-old self who implanted this thing.
The cognitive dissonance.
Well, I'm trying to create one is what I'm trying to do. I want to make it so it's so fucking loud that doing something that you know is not you is hard to do. I'm trying to create a cognitive dissonance.
Gotcha. I thought it just was one because I like can tell you it's wrong, but I'm obviously still doing it. Or well, yeah.
Listen, I want you to actually critical think your way into this one. I know it's wrong. Well, why, Bobby? Why is it wrong? Well, it's wrong because of this. Well, then why is this thing there? Well, because I like this thing. Why do you need that thing? Well, because that thing makes me feel good. I'm like, why don't you feel good that this makes it so it's necessary? Because I don't really like myself for this. Well, why don't you like yourself? I don't like me because I don't do this and this. I'm like, why don't you do those things? Well, because I'm fucking scared of this and this. I'm like, okay, so the root is you're scared of this thing, and that's why you hurt yourself and need other people to tell you you're good when you hurt you. Well, yeah, I guess so. Why don't you just stop hurting you so you don't need people to fucking do that? Well, yeah, I guess I could probably do that, and then I don't need any of that shit, huh? I'm like, let's get to the fucking root. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Bobby, if you want to find why that shit's fucking up, here's where you go. This way.
Yeah.
Inside. There's the answer's already inside of you. I'm just trying to make you aware enough to expose it so that way the choice becomes crystal fucking clear. There is no justification. There is no excuses. There are no, well, it's okay because there's none of that shit. You go, I either am doing that and that's who I am, or I don't do that. That's not who I am. It's too
I
clear.
like that part because I'm not justified. Right.
What's that?
I like that part because I'm not justified. I do it. It's wrong. It happened. I'm not saying it's a thing to do or anything like that, but
Bobby,
yeah, I hear what you're saying.
it's not for me. It's for you. What's after but? And I'm not talking about the bouncing
Oh.
ones you like. I'm talking about, I know it's wrong, but I do it because I want after but.
Gotcha.
Listen, we do butt training later. I'm talking about the 1T butt, not the 2T butts. I'm talking about we do butt training. What's after butt, man? What's my justification? What's my excuse? I want after butt. That's your default program. Write down as much as you can catch. You'll be blown away by when you start like taking an inventory of my own decisions, my own behaviors, my own default. I want it crystal clear, fellas. I want you to be able to see you. See you. Why do I do what I do? What the hell is that thing? Where's that thing coming from? What is that? Why do I even do this thing? I don't even agree with that. Catch your default. So, Bobby, it's not about blame, shame, and judgment. It's an awareness of behavior to make better choices, not justifiably, authentically. Do you see it?
Yeah, I got you.
Hardcore mission, fellas. Simple is not the same as easy. I'm showing you guys how to do this. Why is a weapon? Cut through. Well, why do you do that? Cut through. Well, why do you do that? Cut through the bullshit. Why do you do that? Cut through that. Why is that thing there? Start using why is the weapon to get to the core so you can see why do I choose what I choose on autopilot. Where the fuck did that come from? You're like, I was 11 years old when I installed that. I'm like, you're 40 fucking years old and you're using your 11-year-old system? Let's upgrade this shit. Let's upgrade it. That's a boy system. Let's put a man system in there. It's awesome. You see what I mean? Let's go find where those are. Let's go find them. Well done, Bobby. No blame, no shame, no judgment.
Yeah.
Let's make better choices. Find out you so you can start being authentically you and not needing other people to tell you you're okay when you can look in the mirror and go, I'm not okay. No, let's make you look in the mirror and go, I'm okay. I don't need that shit. You with me?
Yeah.
We're at the beginning of the journey.
Yep.
Do this assignment. Take it very seriously. You'll be catching these things all through the day. It's not just one topic, it's all topics. You make 10,000 choices a day, and most of them are autopilot. How many times do you touch your phone a day? How many times do you fucking scratch your ear a day? I don't know. How many times do you, my beard guys, how many times do you touch your beard a day? We do so much shit on autopilot, we don't even know we do it. How many times you guys scratch your balls a day? You don't fucking even know. We just do this shit all damn day. We have no idea how many decisions that we make on a daily basis that's just autopilot. What we think about the most is what we become. We become what we think about the most. And what you think about the most is what you're going to become. Bobby, if you watch the conversation you had, you're like, now that she's gone, I don't want to do that. And I know it's wrong. I know that this thing over here, and I know I'm not supposed to do that. And I know this thing, I know I've always done it. And I know you're not supposed to do it. What am I thinking about? I'm thinking about doing it. I'm thinking about doing it over and over and over. And we become what we think about the most. Default program, autopilot. Cool.
Yep. We got
Good.
it. Thank you.
Got it. All right. George, what's up? Jorge, what's up, my guy?
Man, I noticed some of this default programming stuff kick in right away because when my wife decided divorce isn't the way forward, she came back into the bedroom, and the first thing I did, she doesn't like the phones plugged in on the nightstand next to the bedroom. She wants them plugged in a different room while we sleep.
Why?
It's just me. I plugged my phone in on the nightstand, and I had, almost a month in the bedroom by myself. I had my phone at the nightstand. As soon as her pillow showed up on the bed, I removed my phone. Why? I was listening to your video from Monday where you were talking about rocking on chairs and stuff with your wife and that conversation. And it's like, I do so many things because of fears that my wife has about stuff so that I don't have to have a conflict with her. I just give up what I want because it's out of fear of having conflict with her over her fears and not standing up for myself.
Yes. George, that insecurity challenge I just put on the table, do that. Yep. I'm going to tell you what you just said is a piece of the insecurity thing. I'm trying to control something because I want the outcome to be my way, but I don't know why I want it that way. And there's a thing underneath that makes it non-confrontational. So that way I don't have this. It actually, you're going to see how much insecurity is riddled around what you guys are doing. And so
I know it's all around my stuff. I mean,
correct, but that's good. But when you catch it, you're like, I know exactly which thing it is though. Yeah. Then you can go, is this even mine? Why do I have this thing? No, she would just say something I don't agree with. That's not something to be scared of.
Right.
There's no argument. I don't have to worry or control anything here. I just go, well, baby, I hear what you're saying, but I don't agree because of this and this and this. So I hear you and I respect your point. If you want to have yours in the other room, no problem. I do mine for the alarm clock or for this thing or for that reason, whatever it may be. So I hear you and I love you and I respect you. I just don't agree with that one. But if it becomes an issue that starts creating conflict and I don't agree with the way it's creating conflict because for me, it feels right to do it this way too. Well, then I'll just agree with you and we'll do it that way. There's no conflict.
Yeah.
There is no fight. Watch Tuesday's thing, George. Watch Tuesday's thing that we did with Andrea and myself because I think we're gonna do that again. That
the heart one. I did watch that. Yeah,
good. That's oh yeah, you were there. You were there. That's riddled with the answers.
Yeah,
it's riddled with there is no fight. So what am I trying to control or what am I afraid of? Catch your insecurity, remove that piece, and so it's a conversation, not a confrontation.
Yeah. I'll go back and watch it again. I know I need to do that.
It's fucking 30 years of how to make it so your relationship is solid packed into a 1-hour conversation.
Yeah.
So it's pretty useful. So George, good catch. Go in. Why is this thing there? But I do challenge you guys. Just I know the answers already. I want to see how far you guys can go on your adventure for what is insecurity. And how much of this is in mine? What is my default program? How much of this shit's riddled in my own shit? Because I've been doing it since I was 13. So maybe I don't know that it's been there for so long. I'm afraid of confrontation, or I don't look people in the eyes, or I isolate myself away from crowds, or I try to push people away from certain things to not see my inadequacies. Like, oh, that guy thinks he's so cool, huh? Right, right. You're like, why are you talking shit about that, dude? Well, I don't want you to notice that I'm not good. Like these are the things where like how much insecurity gets exposed. This is part of a default program. How much am I defensive immediately? That's not secure. Why am I being defensive? You caught me in some area that I'm not feeling very confident in. Well, shit. Well, what is that? What is that thing? Because a lot of our confidence comes from competence. Well, do you work on it? Do you practice? Like, let's get good at it. This is us learning us. When you know thyself, things become far more clear, way less worrisome, way less. We don't get reactive. It's no danger if she's like, your phone is on a thing. You're like, well, baby, that's an observation. You're not wrong. It is. It's sitting right there. That's true. Well, I don't like it there. I'm like, I hear you. And I agree. You don't. That's not a request, though. It's just still another statement. And so that's just a thing that, okay, yeah, that's how you see it. Fair enough. So what are you going to do about it? There's still no request, huh? I'm going to leave it there because that's where I want it. We don't have an agreement. So what am I supposed to do? Start changing things about me without a request? Yeah, I'm secure enough with myself that I'm not going to do that unless it works for the family. So what would be the reason that you don't like it? So I can understand your point of view. Well, I just think that it's really stupid. So just a judgment. Okay. Well, I don't agree with that. Do you see what I'm doing? I'm not reacting because she's making noise. Making noise doesn't mean making sense. I know myself well enough that I don't have to hop without a request. Does that make sense? I could simply go like, baby, do you got something that you need here? Or are you just saying stuff to let me know that's how you feel? Because I hear you. I just don't agree with you. Not mad about that at all. Not reactive about that at all. I'm very secure with myself on this. And then I'm all about that bass, about that bass. There's no trouble. Very cool, right? It all starts piecing together. It starts, once I know me, I don't have to freak out over something else. All right, Gurdeep.
Hey,
What's up?
hey, how's it going? You good?
Yeah. I'm doing well, man. You guys ever watch? There's a show, Tom Likas show, his old show on the radio, and Gurdeep, you just reminded me of it because people would jump on the show like, "Hey, Tom, how you doing?" He's like, "Do you really want to know, or are you just going through the formalities?" They're like, actually, just the formalities. I don't really want to know. I'm like, go ahead with your question. Like it just reminded me, like, how you doing? I'm like, you really want to know? I'll change the whole conversation.
Um, Actually, it's going back on the person who just spoke, so I forgot their name.
George.
Similar sort of experience with me. Um, Not with a phone though. But I get the thing that I keep doing is I keep getting pulled into arguments and I then go deep into it.
So, just so you guys know, did you catch the belief system that he put down for his default program? Did anybody catch it? I keep getting pulled into arguments. That's happening to me. My belief is that I get pulled into arguments. It's happening to you, conversation. So, Gurdeep, I'm going to break this down so you can like, the way that I speak is creating my reality. I keep getting pulled into arguments. That's a belief system that something is happening to you.
Mm.
Like you're not a agreeing participant, like you're not a part of the conversation, like you don't have a part to play. It's happening to you. Do you see? That's a default program, is I believe I'm getting pulled into arguments. No, you're also participating in this. There's a thing you're doing.
Yeah. So maybe I should have elaborated more.
No, you're doing well. I'm just seeing if you see you.
Currently, no, obviously that's what I'm going to learn, right?
Good.
But yeah, that will develop. I guess when I mean pulled into it, it's I sense it's going into a direction where, okay, it's going to go bad here. And I know it's about to go bad, but I don't stop.
Well, what
Right?
is bad?
It's the heated exchange.
Well,
Like
why
my,
is there heated exchange? Why
it will
isn't
be
just one person has heat and I'm cool?
because that's what I'm saying. Like that's where I can't stop, right? So that's I know.
I'm pointing the direction to go. I'm giving you the answers you're seeking, but you think it's supposed to be different.
Hmm.
I'm giving you the answer what you need right now. I'm giving you what you need, but it's
Right.
not what you think you want. I'm doing it right now. There's a very tactical thing I'm doing with you right now.
Mhm.
I'm showing you where to go so that way you don't have this outcome. If you skip a couple of these steps or you adjust a couple of these steps, you don't have a heated argument. This isn't happening to you. You're doing things to make it so you don't have that result anymore. I'm showing you your part so that way you go, why do I have a heated exchange instead of going, well, I hear you and I'm not going to join you in the heat. I'm going to be cool.
So what I was gonna go was it George who spoke before? So when you were discussing the example with him about the phone, I was sort of playing in my head what would actually happen if I did this, what I know would happen. And when you said, okay, I know you don't like it there, but it's gonna stay there. She would said, are my wife would probably say, if you don't move that, I'm gonna move it.
Ah, I will
And
force
yeah.
control upon you. I
And
like
that
that.
that's where I am in my relationship. That's why I'm struggling because I'm just like, this is just too much, right? Like you
Well,
want
I
to,
remember our conversation from before. You guys have been doing this game for a long time because it's been months since we talked.
yeah, yeah.
Like you
It's not
guys have
really,
been, I thought you guys were smoked already. You're still fighting.
yeah, man.
Okay. All right. And are you guys still living separately?
Uh, yeah. Um, so
Even
I'm in that.
more control issues then, even worse.
Yeah, it was. I moved back in for a period, and didn't say anything. Well, didn't say what my intentions were. I was just like, I'm just keeping the peace. Don't want to talk about anything that's going to be hostile. Let's just have amicable conversation.
That's your
Yeah,
default program. As I
yeah.
think I'll keep the peace by doing what? Whatever they say,
No,
nothing.
no, just being normal, like and being nice, like offering to make dinner, helping out with the child, etc. Just being normal without having conversations that could lead to conflict, because that's where I struggle to have a intelligent conversation with this person.
You're a type 9, aren't you?
I don't,
Enneagram. Are you a type 9 Enneagram type, personality type?
uh,
Do your
um,
Enneagram test. I bet you're speaking like type 9. That's a peacemaker, peacekeeper.
I think it was NFP or something,
No, no,
ENFP.
no. That's Myers-Briggs. I want your
Yeah.
Enneagram.
Can you spell it, sorry?
Yeah,
So
Dan, just put it in the chat for me. Just spell Enneagram or one of the guys for him. So that way you can see how it's spelled. There you go. Enneagram. You can see what it looks
okay.
like. It's
Yeah.
just do the free test. Don't pay for nothing. But I just want to see your number. You speak like a 9. And this is where a lot of you guys, where my trained guys like Ryan and my guys are saying, like, well, that fawning element. Fawning is the bargaining systems that we do as people pleasers. All my guys that JR Harvey works with and JR himself, we're the nice guys. These are the guys who do whatever she says because that'll make her love me. So if you say, like, you feel not good enough and my arms are this way, we'll cut your arm off so that way we're both the same and that will make me happy. And then you're unarmed for anything that she needs to protect her or do something like this. Hurting you somehow is supposed to heal her, guys. You guys know what I'm talking about. If I destroy me, that makes you better. You guys know what I'm talking about. This is the fawning system, people pleasers, the yes dears, and that's the fawn system. This is the move towards the bad stuff, so I can stop other people from receiving it. I'll take it myself. It sounds like paladin or protector, but it's really self-destructive and sabotaging in order to try to get love. It doesn't work, by the way. No, none of the control systems are useful. No different than punch her in the face doesn't work, or run away doesn't work, or stand there frozen doesn't work. Hurting yourself to make it so she's okay also doesn't work. And that's what you do. You just beat you up so that way she's good. Well, she's gotten really good at being a bully because you trained her to do it.
Mm.
You never stand your ground, and that makes it so like bullies don't just stop hitting people because you went into the fetal position. They just hit more. Bullies don't hit people that have strength. Bullies don't like to hurt people that'll hit back. And
Mm.
so if you don't have any backbone, well, then you're just going to jellyfish it out there. Well, she's not afraid of jellyfishes that cut off their own stingers. So you're doing a thing. This is your default program. You call it keeping the peace, but really what you did is made yourself inadequate or inept. I cut off my arms and legs so she'd be happy. I'm like, well, then how do you protect her? I can't. I don't have any arms and legs. You're like, so how does that make your family feel safe?
Mm.
You see what I mean? You trained her.
Yeah.
She probably wasn't always like this. As soon as the kid came around, she got like, I have to take care of everything because you're not able to protect me emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. You're not doing your job.
Mm.
Okay. So she's got to do everything. So what does she need you for if she's doing everything, right?
Mm.
Which she's not doing everything, but that's how women measure. It's either all or nothing.
Yeah.
Your default program. Look at your behaviors of how do you respond and react that teaches her how to interact with you. Because I'll listen, I'm telling all of my guys who are people pleasers, when I speak to your wives, they do not talk to me the way they talk to you. They won't talk to me the same way they talk to you guys because you taught her you don't stand up for yourself. You don't have confidence in who you are. You are insecure with you. And so you trained her to treat you poorly. You trained her to do this because if I talk to your wife, I bet you she's respectful. Do you see what I mean? There's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. We trained them. How ironic, George. Her not knowing me makes her nicer than the person she loves. Me being a stranger makes her kinder than a person she loves. That's how she loves. I'm mean to the people I love.
Do you truly believe that if you change yourself, you can actually change that person's way of behavior as well?
People will respond to you very differently when you hold boundaries and you respect yourself, but they won't respect you more than you do. Real talk. People will not respect you more than you respect yourself. If you don't respect you, why the fuck would they? You're asking them to do something that you can't even do. What an interesting demand. What an interesting expectation. I want you to do something I can't even do for myself. In fact, I expect you to respect me, even though I can't do it. Duh, that's not going to work. You know that doesn't work. Even saying it out loud makes you go like, well, that's a fucking terrible plan. I want you to love me, but I don't love me. I want you to like me, but I don't like me. I want you to listen to me, but I can't even listen to me. How are you expecting people to do shit that you won't even lead on? You guys should write that shit down. Your default is I expect people to do stuff that I won't even do. For me, I want you to respect me. I don't, though. I want you to love me, but I don't love me. I want you to admire me, but I don't admire me. I want you to honor me, but I don't honor me. Ironic that we're doing this, right, fellas? That's your default program. That's the program you're on. Treat you like shit and hope that you treat me well for it. How's the strategy sound when I say it out loud? Like if I'm like, Gurdeep, here's the plan. Don't take care of you. Don't respect yourself. Don't stand up for yourself. Don't fucking do what you believe is right. Skip all of that and then have her do all of those things for you. So that way your worth comes into view. Good strategy. Who wants that plan? Yeah, I'm not seeing anybody pumped about that. They're like, that seems like a terrible strategy. That doesn't seem like a good one. But that was the best one you had going up, man. That's the best one you had. That's why I train warriors, man. We got to be able to hold the line on shit. Be like, I love you, but I don't agree with you on that shit. You guys will get fucked up. You guys will get fucked up. There is a thing, and John Paul, I'm going to teach you guys this. There is very different ways to challenge. Challenge isn't negative, but if you use it very incorrectly, it's kind of like having a hammer. Anybody who knows anything about construction knows that building something with a hammer requires skills, expertise, understanding, and it's more complicated to build something correctly than it is to do demolition. Demolition, I don't even need training. You just hit it as hard as you can until it's not like that anymore. I don't even need a lot of training for demolition. And so people use their hammers as a challenge. Like, hey, I want to challenge because I want to be right. I want to challenge because I need to be the one who's the authority. I'm better than you. I need to challenge because I'm going to tell you how shit's going to be. That's demolition, not construction. No, let's do construction. I want to challenge to understand. I want to challenge to connect. I want to challenge to grow because that helps me understand you better. And I reserve the right to challenge and be disagreeable without being cruel. I don't have to be mean to not agree with you. There's a positive way to use your tools, and then there's a very unhealthy way you can use your tools. Are you constructing or are you doing demolition? Which one are you doing? That's how do you use it, trained or untrained? That's why we have what we have here. Is your default program demolition or is it construction? Which way do you use your tools? Do you see what I'm saying? And so that's why I'm pointing out, well, which way do you use your tools, fellas? How do you do it? Like, I've been doing this since I was 13 years old. I'd be like, so you're doing a boy system as a grown ass man. No wonder you love doing demo. But you're like, well, how come my house isn't stable? I'm like, you got holes through all your fucking walls, bro. Why don't you patch holes and fix this shit up? Well, I don't know how to fix things up. I'll be like, then we need training on how to do construction because you're doing demolition and calling it love. Let's check, why do we do what we do? You see what I mean? This is why this is such an important assignment. Do I know what I'm even doing when I'm doing it? If you don't, that's why you're having the issues you're having. The answers are inwards, fellas.
Thanks.
Good job, Gurdeep. Thanks for your courage on this one. I know you're in it and it's hard to do it. I want your Enneagram. I think you're a 9. This is going to help you understand you better. It just gives you tools. It's not gospel. It's just, okay, I can see behaviors I do. And if you're not a 9 and you're a 6, this means you're going into an unhealthy version of you. And this shows me which direction you've been going into your fawning. And this will let me know the behaviors just as the baseline so I can speak the language that you need to help you out of it.
Okay, sure. I'll take the test.
My dude. All right, just do the screenshot and send it to me. You just DM me. Good job. Just on Discord. Just DM me on Discord. It's fine.
Thank you.
Yep. Mike H, my dude Josh, Nigel, Ryan. I see you guys. Christopher, I'm excited for that. All right. Mike, what's your question, man? Default program. My auto responses. What do you got here?
I catch myself. Well, there's some things you said earlier that I kind of need to hear. The having a heated argument, like you don't have to have a heated argument. Just fucking be cool. I'm having trouble with that. I'm just stressed about life and past things, and I catch myself like constantly nitpicking or being defensive.
Good. Write it down. I nitpick and I'm defensive. Those are default program, right? Now, let's cross-reference this to insecurity. If I'm a nitpicking defensive guy, do I seem confident and secure?
No,
Okay, so is it really them then?
no.
See? Now this is where you catch yourself. You're like, damn, I'm doing behavior even I know isn't good. What am I doing that for?
Yeah.
That's why when I said there's no need to fight, you and I have interacted back and forth. How many arguments have we had?
None.
Well, there's no need to fight. It's just understanding.
Yeah.
Well, why isn't it the same dynamic? Why aren't you leading the conversations with your girl or your kids or your friends? Why aren't you leading the conversation in the same way to go, there is no fight?
We both hold on to stress, and so when we butt heads, I butt back. You know, I'm trying to work on that because I say mean shit, and then I'm the fucking asshole, and you know.
Well, if I start saying mean shit because you're stressed, am I not the asshole?
Yeah.
See, is that the kind of guy you want to be, Mike?
No.
Okay, good. So now it's clear. Like I see my default program. That's not the direction I want to go. That doesn't feel like me. I don't like that either. And so good. Now it's too clear to continue. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The path, the sign becomes way too obvious that there's an off ramp here.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, I can't fucking miss this sign now. It's got like, it looks like it's Vegas lights on this fucking thing. Now I see it's super bright. I
Yeah.
don't want to do that. So let's try it again. She gets super stressed. And instead of me hitting her for being stressed, why don't I go, baby, what do you need when you're stressed so I can make sure you're safe and you're okay?
Yeah.
What are you stressed about, babe? I don't need to get mad at her for being stressed. She's
No.
already stressed. So do I add
Yeah.
to it or do I keep her safe and secure? Is she cool?
Yeah.
Just because she's stressed, also, Mike, doesn't mean you have to do something. I just want to know what's going on with my girl. Until
Yeah.
there's an agreement, you don't have to do shit. But I know that if she's not okay and then you hit her when she's not okay, how does that make it better? That's how you love?
Mm.
I hurt her when she's hurt. That's how I love. Is that the guy
Yeah.
you want to be?
I fuck it. I hold on to shit. And then, like, we fought last night. Nothing crazy, whatever. And then I held on to it this morning. And she went and made breakfast, like, oh, I want over easy eggs. And then we sit down and eat. And I didn't say, I was like, oh, like, they're overcooked. Instead of just fucking eating the food and enjoying what she did, I pointed out how, they weren't running or, and that fucking ruined the whole morning now.
Good. So let's point this out. Why did you have to tell her something that she did had a flaw? What was the
Because
purpose for that?
I was just holding on to anger from last night.
Because I feel flawed. This is called projection, Mike. You're trying to make her feel bad, which exposes how insecure and not good you feel about you. Because a secure guy would be like, thank you so much for breakfast. And I really appreciate the effort that you went out of your way to make this. I got a good girl. Thank you, baby. And I would build my girl up. But you, for some reason, want to do criticism and try and tear her down and say, hey, here's the one thing that wasn't done right. How does that make you a good pack leader?
Doesn't.
See, this is you in the mirror. This is where I want you to write these things down so you can go,
Yeah.
motherfucker, this is way too loud to ignore.
Yeah.
I tear down the people I love because I don't like me. Well, then why don't we work on liking you so you don't hurt people anymore? Hurt people, hurt people. It's not them, Mike. It's not them. It's you. And you know what that is? Fucking good news, because I'm glad it's you, because we can work on that right now. You don't have to wait for her to figure it out. You can right now go, you know what? I don't like being that guy. I'm going to stop being that guy. I don't like that shit. I don't want to do that anymore. I don't like hurting my people because I don't want to have the courage to look inward and go, what am I hurt about? You guys think you're fucking badasses from running away from your feelings. I'll say it again. You think you're a fucking badass from running away from your feelings. Way to be fucking tough, dude. You're so scared of your fucking feelings that you hurt people.
Yeah.
You hurt people you love because you're scared of your own feelings. Talk about courageous. Talk about badass. Talk about who wants to fuck with me. You're scared of your own feelings, and yet you think you're the baddest motherfucker around? Hilarious, right, fellas? Real warrior shit goes towards the scariest shit you got in you. If you're scared to go, why does this hurt my feelings? Warriors go toward the noise, not beat up everybody around it because you're scared to go in the cave. Mike, that's where you write. Write down these things and go, fuck, it's right there. Fuck, that thing is right there. Damn it, I see that motherfucker. That's what we fight, not hurt people around you because you're scared of your own battles.
Yeah.
Do you see it?
I see it.
That's my default program. This is so whenever you start looking nitpicking and you start tearing her shit down or you start talking shit to her over stuff, it shows that you're going backwards, not forwards. This is your autopilot that you go, nope, not going that way. Nope, not going to nitpick her. Nope, I'm going to build my girl. I'm not going to break my girl. Nope, I'm not going to put my kids down. Nope, not going to try and hurt people because I don't want to deal with my hurt. Nope, not going to be that guy. Remember, who we were is not who we're going to be, but how I am, that's how I am right now. That's who I am right now. And it's going to keep evolving. What I used to do taught me not to do that shit. That's why I don't do it anymore. In case you guys are catching what I just said, I just dropped like 10 years of figuring shit out down in 10 minutes. Mike, don't kick your ass anymore. Learn from these things. And
Yeah.
hurting people shows you're not okay, not she's
Yeah.
not good enough.
Yeah. I know.
Good. You're on mission. Write down your
Mm,
default. This is a big
mm,
list, man. This isn't 5 things. It's like 500 things.
Yeah.
This is a very difficult assignment. This is why I'm pushing on you guys to grow on this one. So, Mike, that's your mission, bud. Don't shame yourself and beat yourself up. Learn from these things so you don't be the guy you don't even agree with, because you wouldn't even be friends with you the way you talk to your girl.
Yeah.
So be the kind of guy that you're like, I admire, I'm proud of. I build my pack up. My pack is strong when I'm around. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
It's in you. You just got to change. We got to tweak a couple things to make it so like,
Mm,
I don't hurt my pack. I protect my pack. I
Yeah.
don't knock people down. I build them up. Couple small tweaks changes out every interaction you have, man. All right, write it out. You're on mission, bud. You're on
Right.
mission. You got this. All right, Josh. What's up, brother?
Um, hey, how you doing? How's everybody doing? Thank you, Rick, for your time, like always. Hopefully this falls into what we're talking about. I think it does, but I tend to over elaborate myself when it comes to anybody, like whether it's, a relationship, friend, or anything like that. Just
Good.
I always catch
Put
myself, but I never.
Josh, put it down as part of that insecurity default. People who have to over explain is a defense mechanism to try to reduce conflict. Why
Yeah,
do I do that? Over explaining is a defense mechanism to try to make it so people don't misunderstand. So that way they like don't fight. They don't get upset, right? Over explaining does not look secure. The reason I explain the way I do in parables and in conversations the way I do now is because I'm teaching, but my normal conversations are not this long. Does that make sense?
yes,
If it's just you and me, Josh, I wouldn't speak the same way because I need to give you the tools that you don't have. So I have to give you 3 or 4 different examples so you can go, well, the second one is the one that I can use because I got different personality types in here. So I do this on purpose. I'm doing it deliberately. So for your personality type, hold on, buddy. What are you trying to control here by trying to over explain, which does fall into the fawning thing? So you guys are catching on to these new control systems, which we will be breaking down. It's one of the trainings. You'll learn about fawning, flight, fight, you'll freeze. You're going to learn how they're connected to grieving systems. You're going to learn how it's connected to enemy within speaking. I'm going to teach you guys how this all works. Josh, you're trying to control the situation by doing more explanation. Why? Why is the weapon? Well, why do you do that? Well, I don't want her to be mad. So you're in control of how her emotions work. Well, I have to control her emotions or else she's going to feel like this. Okay, so if you don't do this, she's going to be not okay. So her being not okay is somehow your responsibility. Yes, if she's not happy, it's my fault. Well, if she is happy, that's your fault too. Hopefully, I hope. Why don't you, if since you're the boss of her emotions, why don't you just change the knob to happy instead of angry or sad? Why don't you just change the emotion? Just inside out that shit. Just switch who's running the show.
yeah.
Well, it doesn't work like that. You're not in charge of other people's emotions. And so why would I have to over explain in order for you to understand? Have you guys ever seen a salesman who talks too fucking much? Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about. Somebody just fucking just like you're like, so is the blue one better than the red one? And then they're like, well, they made the model back in 1989 that had a whole thing with this, and they had a glitch in a capacitor that they're like, well, we can't do that anymore. And so I remember my buddy Johnny when he was 16, he had a blue car, and you're like, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, is this one better or is that one better? But you guys will see a good salesman who'll be like, oh, the fucking blue one's the shit, dude. The red one's obsolete. You're like, okay, cool. Or the red one's the fastest just because red goes faster. Everybody knows that. You're like, oh, I like that. Cool. Like, whatever the answer is, shorter and sweeter is just better. It's more confident.
I used to be like a salesperson, and now that I think of it, I never knew why I didn't adapt that to my like, because I was so short and sweet and was able to like, get to the point and everything. And now I'm asking myself why I was never able to adapt that to my regular life.
Write it
So it's
down.
like,
Write it down.
yeah,
Write the answer down. Yes, it was, Casper. Yes, it was. Orcs know how to paint their vehicles. Correct. Good catch. I do this shit all the time where there's certain jokes that are only for certain people. But yes, that was a work reference. So Josh, catch some of the things. This is just what I want you to do is focus on your awareness of behavior. It's not about good, bad, right, or wrong. No blame, no shame, no judgment. It's just, do you see you do it? That's it. We get into what to do with it later. I just want to see, do you see? Guys, this list continues. You won't get it done in one session. You're going to catch stuff 3 weeks from now, in 4 weeks, where you're in the middle of just saying a belief system, in the middle of catching a behavior in the middle of it. Circumstances will reveal different outcomes. And you'll go, how did I just handle that one? Why did I get triggered on that one? Add it back to the list. Add it to the list. Make sense? You're going to be doing this for weeks. This isn't a one day thing. You're going to catch shit in just situation after situation. Add it to the list. Cool.
Perfect.
And Josh, quit kicking your ass so damn much.
Yeah, definitely. I'm
That's a
working on that,
demand.
especially
That's a
thanks to you guys.
demand. I'm demanding you stop kicking your ass. We got shit to do. Quit beating yourself up.
Gotcha, Rick. Thank you, Rick.
Write it down. Write it down, fellas. Write it down. All right, Nigel, what do you got?
All right, Rick. Been using the V format that you talked about and trying to keep the bass to avoid the treble. And this is where I'm getting jammed up and something that I've realized in this conversation. So I'm going in with that great intention of keeping the bass, keeping it nice and low. And I'll find that there's escalation. When it becomes my turn to speak, she's leaving an opening for me to speak. I will start with the bassy voice and she will cut me off and start stacking, which triggers me internally to then say, to step over her, speak over her. I'm still keeping bass, but I'm still talking over, and it becomes a stacking situation. So I'm getting jammed up there.
Let me show you how to do the V on this one, okay?
Okay.
It's fucking difficult, okay, Nigel, because you've trained each other to fight.
Yeah.
Get closer and talk quieter and go, hey, baby, please stop interrupting and just hear me. That's all I need. Get closer, almost like I'm going to whisper in her ear. Baby. Yeah, do the Joe Biden. Yeah, get real close. But move toward and go, baby, hey, you interrupted, but I really want to share with you so we don't fight.
What if she feels threatened by that? Like if I'm getting in her space?
I'm not, what's the attack? I'm not attacking you. I'm sharing with you. I'm talking to you normally. If she makes up you're threatening, what fucked up thing does she have in her head? Again, I got to tell you right now, and Nigel, be very aware of this. If you try and walk on eggshells because somebody is trying to tell you how you're allowed to be based on, I'm going to add an extra one, based on a past wound, based on an insecurity, or based on a fear, and I'm even going to add in this case, a judgment, and you change yourself for any of those four things, kill the relationship now, because you're enabling them to control you, that you can't be you because they won't heal. Hurting you doesn't heal people. You're both doing, so she's doing a form of fawning that goes into controlling the conversation. So she has to interrupt and keep going. And then if you do anything like that, then she'll go into attack. I'm sure, right? It goes from fawn to attack. I control until I'll dominate and destroy. So that way the best defense is a good offense. And you most likely are just trying to feel fucking heard.
Well, I think her default is then to disengage. She just walks away. She said, we're not having this conversation. Goodbye.
So that's another control system, which is flight to control.
Yeah.
And it's very toxic behavior. This isn't healthy because there's no agreement. It's just trying to dictate when the conversation can happen or not. Very, very poisonous behavior. This is why being able to be like, baby, hey, calm down. You're not in danger right now. I'm just trying to share, but try and hear me first before you go into control. Control kills love, just so you know, Nigel. The more someone's doing like, this conversation's over, that's control. That means we can't love. There's no point of connection. We can't connect. Oh, okay. So you're just going to interrupt me? You're like, okay, stop. And baby, just hear me. We don't have to agree. Permission to not agree granted. I want to understand where you're coming from, but I also require for a healthy relationship for you to hear where I'm coming from. It's okay for us not to see it the same way, but understand where each other sees it from. So at least we can understand. That's it. And if a judgment comes in, well, you're a mansplainer, Nigel, you're mansplaining me, like another judgment. Like, please, You're doing very unhealthy behavior and wanting to be in control. It's important for us to know because someone's not in control doesn't make them in charge.
Right. So this is with my daughter. So does that change the dynamics of it? Because she's 15 years old. So
Yes, I've got one of these too, man. Go for it. Give me what you got.
this is what's happening with my daughter. This is the dynamic. So if I try to address something with her using a bassy tone, she will escalate, but and then speak over and stack. She actually stacks. So, and I know she's gotten that training from someone else. But I also realized within myself that I had programming that's how I grew up also. I observed from my parents and my grandparents that it was always escalation. It was always escalation. Right?
Sure. So give me a scenario here. You be her, and I'll show you what to do. Because I've got one of these too. The 16-year-old now. That's one of my closest ones, and the 18-year-old calls me all the time.
I'll try and set a boundary for like you can't go out like at past 10 p.m. So
We're
at 10
punishing.
p.m.
Okay. So if she does, then what happens?
She will choose to walk. She'll just say, "Okay, I'm just leaving anyway." She'll go to a defiant stance.
So she doesn't trust you.
Right.
I have to do this with our middle one. I had to show her something because she doesn't understand. She put herself in enough danger that she understands there is danger now because she did sneaky shit and got into some bullshit. Life will get you. So my daughter was asking me one time to go to a party that was like, she didn't know anybody there, as new people and all this stuff. And I'm like, honey, I'm going to show you something. Okay. I just want to show you. And I snatched her by the arm and I pulled her into a room. Like I was like, try and get away from that. I snatched her by the arm and I pulled her into a room. She's like, I couldn't do shit. I'm like, what do you do when there's two guys that you don't know who do this? What do you do? I can't stop them. I'm not there. I don't even know where you're at. And you can't stop. You couldn't even stop one guy, let alone a couple guys that you have no idea who these people are. Is that a safe environment for you? Does that feel safe? She's like, no, that I didn't like that. I'm like, yeah, it's really bad when you can't do anything about it. This is why when I'm like, hey, be with people that I know where you're at, or be with people that like that's a safe call for you, or hey, I know the parents that are there and this isn't going to happen to you. This is just being aware of don't put yourself in unsafe positions. I tell you this because I love you and I want to protect you and keep you safe, but putting yourself in unsafe scenarios, how does that work for you when it just takes one guy to go, who's the new girl? Ooh, I'm going to make her do something. How does that feel? Does that feel safe to you? And she was like, no, good point. And then she'll understand. But the reason that we can have that conversation is because I listen to understand, not try to command. My 16-year-old is out of punishment range, Nigel.
Yeah.
Now it's training. It's not punishing. Punishment just means I'm a bad trainer. If you're punishing, and I'll do a whole training on this one. I think punishment, if you start with punishment, you're a bad teacher.
Right.
And so I have to go with reward systems, with teaching in a more understanding way. Because if you're just going like, if you're not home by 10 o'clock, then you lose privileges. That means I went right to try to create discomfort as like the reward is don't punish. That's the reward is I don't hurt you. That makes people do just good enough to like leave me the fuck alone. It doesn't make them ever want to trust or be better. You see what I mean? Now we'll get into that one much later together, but it's just understanding there's a range there of like, am I talking to you to to be able to connect with you, or am I talking to you to control you? Do you see?
Yep.
So I have quality time that I spend with my girl. The first few times of doing this though, she's going to be a bitch, dude. She's going to do that. You trained her to be a bitch to you. You trained her. So she's going to be mean.
Yeah, she is.
She's going to be mean at first. And you got to be able to be cool with that. Like, all right, cool. No, I hear you, hon. I hear you. And then the more that you're responsive instead of reactive to her, then she'll start going like, okay, well, you're not freaking out. And then we can trust each other. She had a new boy come over, new guy. And I knew he was over. I knew it was going on. I met the kid. We talked to him. He's pretty harmless, but I know she's more of the instigator for things to worry about. But I was like, all right, you guys can hang out and do your thing. And I let them hang. And the next morning, I'm like, do you think I just didn't know? She's like, no, I knew you knew. And I'm like, what do you think I was doing with you? And she's like, I think that you were showing me that you trust me. I was like, good. That's both ways. I trust you. You trust me. If you need something, I got you. But I also have to trust that you're going to make good choices. And if it ever gets off the rails, I'm your safety net. She's like, I appreciate it. Thank you. That's my 16-year-old. I had to build this up. Nigel, this is stepdaughter, by the way. This isn't my blood daughter. This is I had to do double duty. For my stepdad, you know what I'm fucking talking about. You got to do like 3-to-1 to get the same thing a bio dad would get. It's fucking hard. So stepdads know what I'm talking about. And I've got this one where she's like, if I know, no matter what it is, sex, drugs, scary situations, self-harm, doesn't matter. You go to Rick. He won't freak out. And that's where you have to train her is I don't freak out. I'm not gonna, you're out of punishment. I'm just in teaching mode. Well, why is that a good idea for you, hon? Oh, you don't fucking care. Oh, are you asking or are you just telling me my thoughts? Because I care a lot about you. You're my person. I got your back. I would fight for you. I would die for you. You're going to tell me that's somebody who doesn't care about you? Reevaluate with some of these new informations because I give you my resources, my love, my time, my body, my effort. I take care of you in any way that you need. But do you know what that means? Oh, okay. So you think you're so great? I'm like, you mean sacrificing and giving to you makes me feel great? This is my purpose. You're important to me. She's going to give you pushback, but being solid and cool will make her have to reevaluate being able to be open in that area because I'm very confidently going to tell her like, no, I'm doing it because you're important to me. Oh, okay. So you can just do whatever you want. Oh my God. No, I wish that was the case because I'd beat your ass half these days, but that's not what we do. So no, it's not do whatever we want. No, no, no. I love you too much to be able to treat you the way you're treating me. I won't do that. Like these things where it's like it makes them like hiccup their thought process because they have justification until there. But she's 16 now. Anything she can process now. She's not 4. She can process a conversation. So now it's teaching. It's just how do I teach instead of how do I control? And so a lot of the default programs we have is a punishment system and not a reward or understanding system. And that makes them obviously defensive. We trained them like, all you're going to do is hurt me. Do you see what I mean? We have to over time water the garden instead of flamethrower the garden. I have to keep watering. Well, how many times do you water the garden? I don't know, thousands. It only takes one flamethrower to blast the garden to pieces, but how many times do you have to water it? A lot.
So just keep working on the response, maintaining base, and going from punishment over into teaching and connecting.
And reward. I'm proud of you. Good job. Hey, good choices. I saw that you thought about that. I'm very proud of you for that. Hey, do you see it this way so I can make sure that you're safe? Because I just got to know because if it goes off the deep end, I need you to know that I'll be there for you. We tell our girls they're from a small town. They're a small town. That means what's there to do in a small town, guys? You guys know there's 2 things to do. You drink and fuck. You know what small towns do. You guys know. Everybody knows this. So my girls they're small town thinking. So I know there's a lot of drinking, a lot of fucking. I know this. So I'm like, if you're in a situation where you're drinking, call me. I got you. I'm not mad at you for doing what everyone's doing, but I am more upset that you would put other people's lives in danger because you're scared to call. I'm more afraid of drinking and driving than I am for me coming to get you and we'll get the car tomorrow. That's fine. That's being responsible. Because when you're 24, 25, I want you to do the same thing. It's fine. Trained or untrained. Now, my girls, they don't like doing that shit anyways because I make it cool to like, it's fine. You can do that. She's like, well, then now I don't want to because it's like, I'm allowed. Like, it's really funny how it works. But it's one of those things where if we look at our default behavior and the way that we are, we get to be the dads that we wish we would have had. I'll say it again. We get to be the dads or the hero in the story that we wish we would have had when we were growing up. We get to do that. So Nigel, when you were doing your bullshit, how do you wish your dad would have handled it? Been like, oh, it's all right, bud. Well, that's an interesting take on it. What do you think that would do for us? You know, like being able to be the calm, cool dad. I had to learn a different cadence too, Nigel. I'm from Sparta and I don't have any Spartans here. They don't speak Spartan. Any of my military guys know what I'm talking about. My girls don't speak that dialect. So I can't be like, where the fuck are you going? Who's going to fucking be there? Like, I can't talk to them like that. That's Detroit talk. That doesn't work. Man, fuck that guy. Like, I can't speak to these girls that way. That's a dialect. They don't respond well. They clam up. But if I'm
Yeah,
cool,
she does that too. So when she speaks over me or interrupts me, then my tone will change. Even though I'm really bassy, my tone will get serious like this, and she'll say, "Why are you talking to me like that?"
it's a good question.
Yeah.
Why are you talking to her like that? I'm going to start pushing into control instead of connect. That's why my tone changed. My dialect, it doesn't take much. Nigel, you could tell if you and I were talking. I'm like, well, what do you mean, man? And I was like, okay, hold on. What are you trying to, what are you saying with that? Like, I'm still asking questions, but you saw that tone went up. You saw it got like, oh, okay. And I started talking like that, like, oh, we're getting into it. You can see the tone starts to change, even though I'm asking questions still. Ah, you're getting me. You're getting me. You're making me go up the V. You're getting me. You see it? And so
Yeah.
that's where it's like, we got to be like, no, I'm going to get closer to you and be like, well, no, I see what you mean with that one. And it's not totally without merit, but I don't agree with this one part. Are you okay with me sharing with you? And sometimes you're like, no. I'm like, all right, fair enough. It's going to be hard for me to trust you if you won't even just consider what I'm saying. And I want to trust you. I don't want to have distrust with us, but we got to be a team here. I want to give you more privileges. This is where I think a lot of us guys goof up is we don't say what's in it for them. Write it down. You don't say what's in it for them. That's a fucking big miss, fellas. This works on your girl. It works on your kids. What's in it for them? You do know that if I'm driving, you're going to get there more efficiently. You're going to have more fun, less stress, and you can be like, it's just better for you all the way around. You know that, right? Well, I like those things. I'm like, cool, then let me drive. I got
Hey
you.
Rick, can I put in an idea on this real quick? Something actually that has been successful for me a lot with my students and with my wife.
Sure.
Um, in education, they have a lot of these like isms that are just kind of cliche, whatever. But one that stuck with me is it says call people in, not don't call them out. And like just how this works in the classroom, you can tell a kid, hey, you stop talking. You do that in front of everybody, they're gonna shut down. But hey, come here real quick. Take them to the hall. Hey, I know you're excited, whatever, right? Bringing them into that space. A few months ago, I started employing this with my wife. When we're talking about finances, and she starts getting like, okay, but what about this? What about this? And I don't know if this particular way would work for you, but like, hey, hold my hand, or I'll like touch your knee, like, hey, I see you, okay, keeping that base. But it's not, well, we need to do this and this, and because as you will see me talk over time, and Rick knows this, I tend to ramp and work up. And me and Daniel were going last night on it, and we both like, oh, okay, we got to bring it back down. But something about like, even if it's not a physical closeness, just something about, hey, come into my space. Okay, can I come into yours? I hear you. Can you hear me out? Right, and doing it slowly and gently. Something the defenses may not go down, they're going to pause for a second, and it may take time to cultivate that because they're not going to know what's happening first. But it's magic because they start saying you're not attacking them, you're just inviting them into the space for the conversation. Because at the end of the day, like it's not you versus her, it's both of you versus whatever problem's happening. And when you invite in, you call them into that space, the conversations can get really magical. And not saying that it fixes all the problems, but the listening starts kicking in, and then the conversation can be had. Hey, what do you need? What do we need? What are you seeing that maybe I'm not? Okay, maybe I don't agree with that. Let's talk about it, right? But keeping like you said, the bottom of that V, inviting into that space is again calling them into it, not calling them out. Is just that phrase. So I can paraphrase a lot of this because I have to think fast. So just a thought, something to chew on.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Will.
This is a tricky one, man. Being cool over a long period of time, it's the only option.
Yeah, it's the long road, I guess. Just gonna hunker down for the long road.
Oh man, this 14-year-old I got, she's the baby. Mama babied her all the time. Long road. I'm gonna be pumped if it takes me another year to crack her. I just tell her I'm proud of her. She's doing great. I teach the girls their love languages. her love languages are words of affirmation and quality time, but she doesn't want my quality time. So I'm like, then words of affirmation it is. I'm gonna be proud of her all the time. I just keep building her up and build her up, build her up. Now her other sisters they fucking get it. And so they're way rougher on her than I am. And so I'll just be like, your sister's kind of being mean. You want to pull her back a little bit. And like the middle one and the older one are like, yeah, we know she is. We'll get her. We're family unit. I'm pack leader. And so it's going to be like, hey, make sure the little one's good. And so I'll assign and delegate like roles to help make the family unit stronger. And they know that I've got them. So that way they can do the thing to make the family stronger. The little one's coming around. She's a freshman. So it's like the phase where they're an asshole. Everybody knows that 8th grade to freshman year phase where everything's like, ick, whatever, stupid. Like everybody knows that phase. It's a phase. We just gotta get through that. I'm gonna love her through that phase. I'm gonna love her through it because it's a shitty phase. It's okay. It passes. We all have to do it. It doesn't work. And just so you guys know, do you know what teaches kids to get out of that phase? Their peers, because being a fucking bitch doesn't work with their friends. That's why people outgrow it. It's not us telling them don't be a bitch. It's when their friend goes like, you're really a bitch. And they're like, oh, I am? This isn't getting approval. This isn't fitting in. Maybe I'll stop doing that. The kids will check kids. That's part of the evolution of it. Okay? So being an asshole doesn't pay off in society. It ends up having a cost and they don't want to not belong in high school. So you just got to love them through their phases. That way you're always the safe thing for them while life kicks them in the teeth.
Awesome. Appreciate it, Rick.
Yeah, good job. It's a
Thank you,
tough
brother.
one, Nigel. It took me a long time to get this one. It's tough. I got 3 of these. They gave me a ton of practice. I thought God was punishing me. He's teaching me. It's nuts. Good job, man.
Thanks, man.
All right, Ryan, Christopher, I may have to check in. I think there's a unit that Chris is training. I don't know what the time that unit started, but yes, it did. Oh, it's is it early? I gotta check.
Yeah, it was 8 a.m. early.
8 a.m. Oh shit, Phil. All right, cool. That helps me. I don't want to miss that unit next time. So good to know. Okay. Thank you, Phil. I appreciate that. All right, Ryan, what do you got?
Well, I guess after like listening to this is just more of like an observation. Like I got some work to put in here. Like I guess what I originally wrote down was like when the wife takes like a tone with me, or like I'll ask the kids a question and she'll answer them. Like I tend to get irritated, but like I don't say anything about it in the moment. Right. And I think a lot of it came back to like, well, me not respecting myself to stand up for myself in that situation and say something about it is like, I don't want to fight over silly shit.
So
Right.
I think what did you just get from Will when he just said his thing?
I
It's okay
I
if
think
you missed it. It's okay because we all teach differently. So Will is the perfect teacher for some people, and other people are better teachers for the same thing. That's why we all talk differently. What did you get when Will was saying his thing? All right, let's do it
I
again. He said,
okay.
pull him in, don't call him out. And so in this case, where she's answering for the kids, instead of going, I'm talking to the kids, not you. That's calling someone the fuck out, right?
Right.
Well, don't
It
call
would
him
be
out.
like, hey, why are you doing that? Or
No. Just go like,
okay.
just go like, thank you, baby. I appreciate it. What do you think, hon? What's going on? And then talk to your kid. And then later on, you pull the girl and you pull your wife in and go, hey, babe, let me hear from our kids. I gotta hear from what's going on with our kids. And they're not you, right? And you're not them. And no
Mhm.
different than you don't want me to speak for you. Let them speak for them so that way I can hear their big, beautiful brains without you having to control their thoughts. Is that fair? And she's like, well,
Okay.
I wasn't trying to do that. I was just trying to, and see if she gets defensive, it shows her she's not okay. And that means opportunity to go, no, reassurance. Like, hey, baby, don't get defensive. I just want to hear our kids talk too. Please let me listen to our kids. All right. They're
Okay.
important. They're important to me. And I want to hear your opinion, but please don't make up their opinions for them. Let me hear from them. Is that a fair
Okay.
request? Okay, so you just think that you're better than me? It's like, at what point did I say that? I just want to hear our kids speak. What's going on? What do you need here? What are you doing? Now, the what you need thing, it hiccups the conversation. Just so any of my guys who have done this, as soon as you ask your girl what she needs, the whole record skips, man. You'll watch this thing like a fireworks show, just go in all directions. It won't make any damn sense.
Well, that's exactly what's happening.
Good. That's
I don't know
okay.
how to deal with it yet.
It's a fireworks show. What do you do when
Yeah.
you're watching? What do you do when you're watching fireworks? Try and get in the middle of them?
I suppose watch with ooh and ahs.
Just watch the show. You don't have to do anything
Okay.
for that. It's a fireworks show.
Okay.
What do I have to do? She's having a show. I just watch her do her thing and go like, all right, but I still don't know what you need, babe.
So when that's going on, just continuing asking questions like why.
Well,
Or yeah.
there's boundaries that do need to be there, because it's one thing when she's sharing like, hey, there's a lot of things on my mind. It's another thing when people are like calling names and hurting people. And so that's where a boundary would be like, hey, if you're gonna call me names, this conversation will have to be over. That's a
Okay.
different thing than going like, I'm really frustrated about this, saying you're being a fucking asshole. That's a different thing. It's like, wait a second, you want me calling you a fucking dumb bitch or something? Like, no. Well, then don't call me a fucking asshole. Like, we gotta at least be respectful. I'm the only person you talk to like that. Slow down like this. If you talk to me like that, we gotta time out this conversation. I will end this conversation. And then
Okay.
as soon as she goes, oh, okay, so you're gonna be an asshole, be like, conversation's over. I'll talk to you later. And then just like go do something else, because I really will back up the thing I actually said. You're going to have to hold the line a few times until she goes, okay, he'll really do it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, because like earlier, I mean, you said like, they don't talk to others the way they do you, and it's just like, well, yeah, if she talked to her boss that way, or treat him that way, or things like that, like she'd be fired.
Well, there's a consequence for them. They have
Right.
consequences. You don't.
Right. Yeah.
You trained them that you don't
Yeah.
have a backbone for your own things.
Yeah, I completely did it to myself. Yeah.
Well, the cool thing is you could just hold the line respectfully, and then they'll go, you're doing it. Remember, Ryan, this is important for all of you guys. The first few times you do this, they double down, dude.
Oh, yeah.
They do. They're going to double down because they need to go, are you really safe, or are you just being fake? And if you really hold your line, they go, oh, okay. He didn't buckle on that shit. He didn't buckle. I pushed him,
Right.
and then I double pushed him, and he held it. All right, well, that's pretty safe. Okay, he can really do it. Okay, well, now that I know you hold the line, now I don't have to push it because I went hard and you handled it. So that makes me feel immediately like you can do better at this. Does that make sense?
It does. It does. And like we both took that test yesterday. And some like I'm definitely a 9.
Mm-hmm.
And I messaged her, she came back as an 8. So like my understanding of it is like we're complete opposites.
Well, also, but 9-8 and 8-9 is also a wing system too. And so, there's a reason why 8s are the way they are. I'm an 8. And so like
Okay.
there's a reason we're the way that we are. But you're going to have to be competent in your conversation in order for her
Okay.
to have respect for you. But if you go like, I'm sorry, they will lose respect for you immediately. Understanding
Yep.
how to speak 8. They're big softies, but you have to like get past the spiky armor.
Okay. Okay.
Over time, I'll teach you how to speak 8. So that way, like she'll just chill out and go, oh, okay, good point. Because 8s like to debate. We go hard. In fact, if she wanted to go back and forth with me, it would look like we're having a screaming match with each other. And at the end, it's like, dude, I really appreciate that conversation. Thank you.
Yep. That's exactly how it is.
But if you ever back down and don't hold your line in that conversation, fucking weakness. It'll be judged immediately.
Yep.
Now, teaching a 9 how to hold the line on an 8, that's a difficult fight, dude. And I'm going to tell you how you win it. You end it with stoic strength. Don't try to get louder. You'll only lose. That's their fight. It's kind of
Just
like
hold the line. Okay.
it's like you trying to fight a jujitsu fighter and a boxer. Like if you get the boxer to the ground, all those tricks don't work no more, and then you can just stay calm, man. Just lock them
Okay.
up and just let them burn themselves out. And then you're like, you good? You're like, this is stupid. I can't do anything. You're like, I know. It's all right. I got you. Or just lock them up and be like, you can't move, right? You're like, I'll fuck you up if I could move. I'm like, I know, but you can't, right? Yeah, I can't. I'm like, see, you're okay. Just slow down. All right. See? You can't do shit. You got nothing. All right. Well, I'm just trying to say, and so like it's just being able to be calm and cool in these things, not trying to, punch blow for blow because they're a better boxer than you. You're not gonna like that.
Yeah, yeah, she's way better boxing than I am.
Yeah.
So just hold the line. Okay, just hold it.
Hold the
Okay.
line, man. Just go like, well, baby, I hear you. I hear you. I don't agree with you at all. And I'm not going to let you take control of this situation because you're angry. In fact, the angrier you get, the less control that I believe you can handle. Otherwise, you'd be okay right now. No is a complete sentence. No, I'm not doing that. Excuse me? And she'll get louder and go like, what I said was no. Okay, so you're just gonna and you should what go off the rails. The more you just sit there and just go, you done yet? She's gonna be like, it's not working. And then she go, oh, you think you can just control me? You can just tell me what to do? I'm like, I asked you a question. What part of that is telling you what to do? You're the one who's doing all the control shit.
Got it.
When you're very competent in your conversation, they back off. But if you're incompetent in your conversation, they will rip you apart.
Yep. That's exactly what happens. Yep.
Mm-hmm. So you have
Yep.
to show competency. That's it.
Okay.
I'll
Got it.
teach you how to do it. This is a skill that requires practice. Now, since I am the thing that she is, I'll fucking take shots at you. So that way you can practice how to like block and how to dodge. So that way you go, oh, okay, that's how that works. So that way when
Okay.
she takes those shots, it's not like it's kind of like sparring. You're used to what
Yep.
punches feel like. So you're not like, oh shit, a punch. You're just like, like you don't have to keep eating them. You can go like, no, you slip those. You slip those. That's how you get out of that. Okay.
Okay.
Good. But you're catching a default program that you fawn, and that
Yep.
makes her, it puts her into her masculine, which is going to make her more aggressive.
Yep.
And that's what you trained her to do. She most
Yep.
likely could have been a 2 before and just is in her 8 because you didn't make her feel safe.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is super strong with her right now, and it didn't used to be. I mean, there was some tendencies there, but it's way, way worse now than
It's all
it
just
was
so
10 years ago.
it's all around control. Just everything
Yep.
for her right now. The 8s will go. It's everything is centered around control and not being controlled. It's all control. As soon as
Yep.
you show that you're competent and solid, then she'll back off.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a it's tricky though. I'll show you how to do it because these ones are the most aggressive, and so it's tricky to learn how it works.
All right. Thank you.
You got it. All right, Christopher, you've been very patient. I'm excited to hear what you got.
Great call, guys. I've enjoyed learning from each man that's come on. I'll just go ahead and throw this out. I'm a 4-3 wing.
Heart side.
Yeah.
Heart side with that suppressed achiever.
Yeah.
You're gonna make it happen.
I am terminally unique and think that my problems are bigger than everybody else's.
You and Phil get along perfectly.
Yeah. So last year, I ended up in a relationship that by all measure, I thought I was arriving into this thing with so much wisdom and information and training and coursework and all the things. And I did fairly well for about 3 months, the typical 3-month period. And then I got into people pleasing, like hardcore, like doing what she wanted, being agreeable with her, while trying to put on this facade of a masculine leader, right? Like saying all the right words, but not really following through on them, because I was afraid of losing her. We had been friends for 12 years prior to this relationship.
I am afraid of losing her. That's
Yeah.
that's your fear system is based on a belief of something around being alone. These are the things when you're doing your default, like catch all these pieces.
Absolutely. I've got it. Yeah.
Good. Just write them out as clearly as you can. So that way it's like, it's very obvious who's fucking with me. Oh, fear? Okay,
Yeah.
I see who's fucking with me. Oh, I have some sort of an insecurity around being alone. Well, why aren't you okay with being alone? What's that thing mean? And how does this thing connect to this thing? Like, I'm very curious to see like what those things are because you're revealing you to you as soon as you have something you're afraid to lose.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, keep going. I'm just pointing out like so you can go like, okay, write it.
Yeah. Thank you. My fear of being alone is centered around worth and value and achieving. Like I've always treated relationships as some way to achieve something.
You do
Like
love.
Very much.
I do love. I can't
I
be
do
in
love.
love.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
be in love. I don't fall in love. I do love. I force love.
Right.
Well, that doesn't work because you're going to try and think your way through a feeling.
Yep.
Now, your 4 side has to be going crazy that your 3 side keeps trying to do this. Remember, 3s suppress heart side. Even though they are a heart side, your feelings get in the way of achieving. How many of you guys know that if you're crying at work, you're going to be less productive? Does anybody know that if I'm just like, oh, fucking not okay, like if I'm doing that at work, I'll be less productive than if I just shut that down and go forward, right? Feelings get in the way of progress. It gets in the way. It fucks things up. So you learn very quickly that if I do this, then I'm more successful at this. But then you're suppressing like that 4 element of you, the emotional part of you, which is also it's kind of like having the superpower that you control fire. Right? While on one hand, you can keep bad things away and you can warm up the food and make it so people feel safe and you can bring light and things are very good. Fire can be very useful. On the other side, though, you can also burn the whole fucking village down. So this is it's a very tricky ability because, on one hand, it can be used for warmth, safety, security, and love. But on the other end, you can also destroy everything that you love. And here's the hard part about your 4 is you guys also tend to have goldfish memory where you'll like burn down the village and then come back and go, why is everybody mad at me?
Yeah.
Why was everybody upset? What are you guys mad about? You're like, you burned down the whole fucking house. And you're like, come on, that's not that bad. You're like, we have no house.
And you try to understand why they're still holding on to things and you've let it go.
Correct. Goldfish memory on your own. Like you burn down the village. And so there's a lot of elements there that make it really tricky. And heart side and 4s specifically, you guys operate very uniquely. I think Chris, hang out with Phil. And Phil, I don't know if you guys still do some of the shadow work stuff that we used to do, because you guys, I just want to give you a unique thing for you, Christopher, is there's a part of you that society will shame. There's a part of you that's very shameful about type 4s, which you guys can have the dark thoughts and the go into the dark places and be more comfortable than other people. And so you'll do something that will be like socially unacceptable. Like I've seen my 4s go into like my wife and I are arguing. And so I wrote my own obituary to show like what's life like if I wasn't fucking here, you fucking bitch. And then after you went into like writing about your own death, would feel like, man, I feel good. Like I'm gonna go finish those taxes I've been putting off. Like you're like all of a sudden feel energized again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
through one conversation.
Yeah, and it's a thing that like a 4 will go and like lay in a shallow grave and contemplate the existence of rotting, and then come back and feel like, dude, I feel pretty good about myself right now. Like, what a cool life, where everyone else is like, this makes me terrified. You guys can just make snow angels in the mucky muck, and everyone else is freaking the fuck out. Like, so you guys are the Tim Burtons, the Edgar Allan Poe, the Shakespeares. You guys are the romantics who can go in with just a charcoal pen and create an entire rainbow. Like that's a unique gift that's very misunderstood, and you don't want to be like others, the uniqueness of you. But that also makes a complication where I don't want to be like you, but I still want to be loved, and I still want to be accepted for being nothing like you, which is a
Yeah.
contradiction to people because people like similar things, and wanting to be the opposite of you, but being loved for being different is a contradiction. And that's always the battle is I want to be unique and authentic, and I don't want to be like everyone else, but I want everyone to love me for my unique authenticity, which
Yeah.
people don't always appreciate.
Yeah. And where people pleasing comes in full force.
Correct. So
And
now
I,
it's like, who can you be? You have to compromise your truth of self, which is very valuable to you, to try to make it so somebody else likes you when they may have already liked you for being truth of self to begin with because you've known the person for over a decade.
yeah.
Brother,
Yeah.
DM me after this. I live this world. We'll
Phil's
hook up
Phil's
later.
my master on this one because he's my type 4 who works on this shit too. So he'll speak your language.
Oh yeah.
So
I sent you a message in Discord back when you came on the Kings team, but
yeah,
you were really busy. You had stuff
Just
going on. So
full disclosure to everybody. If I don't respond to one, send another one a day and a half later, and then put big bold letters. I will see it. I'm just, lots of meetings.
you talking to
Working
me,
on it.
Chris, or Phil?
no, Phil.
Okay,
No, it's
Phil,
me.
yeah.
okay.
I'm working on it, guys. So
He's
just
only got
bear with
one
me.
hand. He's got one hand.
That's
Literally,
right.
Swipe with a thumb.
But
So I'll try it.
as JR will tell you, I'm working really hard on not being a pest as well.
No. That's
Like
for me,
being
brother.
patient.
You're four.
That's
That's
Phil,
me.
Chris. That's not
That's
you.
Yeah.
That's Phil. He's got it.
It's all me. It's all me. Me thing while I'm growing too, guys. Still
Yeah,
growing.
so Rick, if we can close this up, I wanted to add one more thing.
Sure.
I ended that relationship in April,
Why?
and it was because it was our communication style was just not going to change no matter what I did. Some of the guys were talking about it in the chat that even as I was starting to embody some better coping mechanisms and really like asking the questions like you talk about, like, tell me more about this feeling that you have instead of telling her she's right or wrong or whatever, she just doubled down permanently and kept calling me her father. You're just like my dad and blah, blah, blah. And I was just tired of fighting. I was drinking again. I completely let go of my career. Walked away from probably the most important thing I've ever done in my life.
You fours play
And-
hard. You play for keeps in this world, huh?
Yeah. And so I've been living with a lot of shame and guilt over not only that relationship, but literally burning the village down
Correct.
as a result of it.
So here's the thing just for you to think about, because you fours have a tendency to fucking blow your own shit up very emotionally. It happens. Like it's like your thing. I would encourage you to not only like don't kick your ass over doing a thing, just get really good at your what's the construction company that does like the rebuilding? What's a rebuilding company? You know, like the house burns down and they come and do the renovating and the rebuilding.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, create your own like reconstruction company. Be like, I know that I'm gonna burn shit out, but I always build it back better.
Yeah.
Like I'm really good at is it retrofit? Is that what it retrofitting? Like whatever it is, like I'm really good at rebuilding this thing.
Yeah.
Instead of going like I'm such a piece of shit because I did this, like going full Eeyore. Instead of doing that, get like, okay, well, that's time to get to work to build a better one.
Yeah.
You know,
And I
being
think
able to
that's my
kintsugi.
new internal language is saying that, right? Like I guilted myself for so long. Where did I miss this training, or where did I miss this thing, or
Yeah.
how did I fall short on this? And now it's all gone. Now my point of view is I get to start from the foundation up again. And even if I have to leave everything behind and learn a new set of skills to build this thing,
Yeah.
then so be it. I can only come back stronger and better.
What an exciting adventure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's remember too, guilt is very useful. Shame is not useful though. And you see my training on that one, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so guilt you can use because like what would I have done differently? Good. Next time I'll do that. I'm better. But shame, I haven't seen a use for it yet. It's just waste of time.
Yeah. It keeps me in that grave.
Yeah. but like it doesn't do anything. It's not. I can't find a benefit to it. I can't be like, use your shame for this reason, and then you can get stronger. It's like punching yourself in the dick. I'm like, I don't really see the benefit. Like, I haven't seen how that makes you better. It just hurts real bad.
Yeah.
You can't walk right. Everything just hurts. Like, you're just not feeling confident. Like, it doesn't work, man. You can't love. Like, it's not a useful system. Now,
Yeah.
guilt is like, well, don't do that. Fuck. Learned that. That doesn't work. So next time I won't do that. So now I leveled up.
Yeah. I recognize that shame's a big piece of number fours as well,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
we try to, especially a three-wing achiever, we try to create all the time. There's always forward momentum in our ideas and our thoughts, and we like to do these things for other people. So then when I let myself down, I automatically assume that I have let all of them down.
Yep.
So the guilt of it just bears on me so hard
And then
that I allow shame to come
You're
in.
fucking mean to you too.
Oh, brutal.
We used to have a
Brutal.
competition. It was like 3 or 4 years ago we did this where we would do a thing with all my fours, like who's the forest four. That was the competition. And it was who's the meanest to themselves. And like every four is like, I'm about to get this trophy. Like you guys are fucking brutal. 4s, 6s, and 1s. Fucking brutal. But 4s are tough to play with. You guys go dark.
Yeah.
And so it's just the awareness of that because it's a very unnecessary system. Yeah, 4s, 6s, and 1s, though, you guys are just so mean to yourselves, like just so hard on yourselves. It's a very tough one to do it. And so when you're aware of it though, and you start getting rid of some of the curses that are there that don't seem to be a benefit, there is a healthy 4 is very useful, but an unhealthy 4 is very self-destructive for no purpose. It's just to do it. And then you'll create your own Eeyore. Why bother? No one's gonna notice anyways. You know, all that shit. I'm just a piece of shit. Not that it matters. You know, like you do that talk where you just start being just shitty to you for no reason.
Yeah.
I'll teach you how that works more when we hang out more together. I think you got good awareness, but you're just missing a couple of the pieces to make the machine work.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate you, Rick.
Yeah, I got you, bud. That's pretty good. Good job on that one, but we'll break those curses. Got it. All right, Mark, close this out, and then I'm going to have Ty do the big exit. Let's get you unmuted, bud. Can't hear you. I want to hear you, Mark. There we go.
Sorry about that.
You're good. You're good.
Yeah, I just drew myself a little roadmap of my defaults, which is kind of it's a work in progress. So just bear with me. And I also don't know if I need to work on this more, but I feel like I have like an initial choice in the beginning of every day. You know, it's like cool. Like I have shit that's going on in my life. How much of it is going to fucking bother me today? You know, it's like if I have physical or emotional pain, it's like, can I deal with it? Can I brush it off? There's a positive choice there. And then like things can generally like carry on in a pretty positive manner, right? But if I don't, then my defaults are doubt and anger, either one or the other first, right? And then I start if I go to those defaults, then I start to stack things. Like doubt is a big part of that, of like, you know, hey, you remember that motherfucker that, you know, like did this, you know, wronged you, or, you know, you remember that gnarly accident or whatever, you know, like these incidents and those problems and all this stuff.
Well, hold on a second. I don't know if that one's doubt.
Well,
like try it again. Like, do you remember that old person who did that thing? Like, that's not doubt. Like, so tell it to me again, like kind of the way you say it to you, so we can identify which thing is actually attacking you. Like say it how it's like you hear it in your head.
Just that, like, you know, so you remember that, like, my girlfriend betrayed you, or, you know, your ex betrayed you, and you remember who else has done that in your life. You know,
So then
And
what is the thing that tries to get you to do? Like, remember that happened, so now you can't do this, or remember that thing happened, so now having friends is bad, or remember that happened, so
Right.
what's the thing like that's after it?
uh, well, either stacking a lot of the similar shit
Like
against
what?
it.
I want to hear, because remember you were betrayed, and that means what?
I was betrayed, and oh, gotcha. I see what you're getting at. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, that it's just going to continue to happen. Like
Okay, so it's a self-fulfilling prophecy because somebody did something in the past, it's going to forecast the future.
Right.
So like because there was a storm before, every day is going to have storms then, right?
Right. And there's no avoiding it, and there's like I'm not dealing with it well enough, that
Cool.
kind of stuff.
Now, is that doubt?
Feels like doubt to me. I don't know.
All right. It's not telling you you can't do something. It's telling you what might happen in the future. Guys, is that doubt? I know my warriors know. It's not doubt. Something that's going to happen in the future. The past is going to repeat itself. And that means something in the future is going to happen. Which one of these enemies within play in the future? Yeah, Gerald, the anxiety, but it's the piece, it's the core of anxiety.
Anxiety.
What makes anxiety? What is the core piece of anxiety?
Yeah, I'm at a loss here.
Cool. It's fear.
Fear.
I'm scared that this will happen. And if you take fear and multiply it over and over again, that becomes anxiety. Anxiety is just fear multiplied. Now, fear is a possible future that most likely will never happen.
Gotcha.
It doesn't exist. And so, like, Mark, you're worried about being betrayed, right? What about if I get betrayed, I get betrayed? Well, let's have presence in the present. Look around the room. Like, is anybody betraying you right now?
No.
Well, that's not happening. So are we in make believe or are we in something that's actually happening?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
right now you're abstract thinking because you have a heightened creativity and imagination system. You're making up scenarios that make you feel bad that don't actually exist.
Copy.
Well, that means what are you fighting then if you're fighting something that's not happening?
Myself.
Are you?
I don't know.
You're
My
fighting
past,
something.
I guess.
It could be. You're fighting something that doesn't exist. What are you fighting?
Right.
If you're in
Yeah.
an argument about somebody betraying you in the future and you're saying, they say this, then I'll say this. And if they say this, then I'll say this. Who's making up their answers?
I am.
So who are you fighting with?
Myself.
And sometimes you lose.
Yeah.
That's funny, right?
Yeah.
I got to argue with me today, Mark, and got my ass kicked. Like either you're really good at arguing or you're really bad at arguing. It's kind of both, maybe.
Yeah. I come up with a lot of scenarios in my head that are just fucking ridiculous, most of them. So
Yeah, this is your default program where you just don't know how to do that. I just want to give you a little bit of a reassurance when we get into fear training and anxiety training. If you have abstract thinking as one of your abilities to have these possible, future dynamics that could happen, that could happen, that could happen, and you can play out entire scenarios in your head. It's actually people are trying to diagnose it as a disorder. Like there's something wrong with you. You have anxiety. There's something wrong with you. The reason people struggle with this is because the belief system that there is something that's a disability about you because you have abstract thinking, it makes it so you're going to feel like I'm somehow defective. The reality is you have a superpower you don't know how to control. You're brilliant, not broken. And if you have an idea that you're broken, you'll see your superpower as a curse instead of something that you learn to control. It controls you.
Gotcha.
Mark, you can look into the futures and see possible outcomes. In any other world, that's a superpower, dude. Like, what if that happened? What if that happened? What if that happened? Instead of going in like, oh no, going, well, what would I do? How would I work with that? How could I prepare for this one? If that were to happen, well, that would teach me I need to learn how to do this, and that would make me better at that. And we need to change your reaction system, which is your default program, into a control system, which was my response system. And when we get into anxiety, I will give you every step that you do, each step to go, well, when that happens, I'll be okay. I would just do this. And if that were to happen, well, that hasn't killed me yet. I would just do this. And if somebody did that, it's not the first time that's ever happened. And I survived that one. So that's okay. Like, you'll realize that these are just things that if they did happen, I'd probably be all right.
Right.
You're not fighting doubt on this one. You're fighting fear, and fear isn't real.
Well, and regardless, it's like with even all the bad shit that's happened in my life, it's like I'm pretty resilient. Like
You're still here.
I'm still here. I'm still fucking breathing. But this roadmap is just that. There is split in a number of different areas of like really there's a choice. Like I can either focus on all the bad shit or I can fucking move past it.
Well, there's a few pieces I got to give you, because it seems like the answer is the solution, but you're missing pieces and it won't be a solution. It can end up creating a new problem if you don't have the pieces. So you're seeing the patterns, which is good, but I do know you don't have some of the pieces to actually do it. And so I will be giving you those tools. So I just don't try and fix it right now. Like, we got to understand it so that way you can go, now I know how to use this as a benefit and not as a defense tool, because it's unnecessary to be like on guard all the time, like Jason Bourne memorizing license plate and checking exits when you're the only one in the diner. Like, slow down. Like, you're fine. We're okay. Be present in the present. You're good. And being able to be calm through just things that aren't happening is actually pretty useful skill. So I'll teach you how to do the skill. You're not broken. You have a fucking superpower. They just tell you you have anxiety and your identity is routed in not being okay. It's like, no, you look into the future, you learn what you can, you'll get experience from possible scenarios that don't exist. But I also got to let you know, like, it's the future, which means there's variables that you don't have yet.
Right.
Like, there's always something that, like, it's the future. I don't know what they'll really say. And I don't know who new people would be there. And I don't know if like somebody else would be involved. And it's the future. You don't have all the information yet. So you can only go so far, because you're basing what could happen only on what experiences you've been exposed to, which, if you think about how much there is to know and how much I know, it's like less than 1%. So how can I know everything? So I got to give myself a little grace in my futures, because they're only based on my experience.
Gotcha.
So don't beat yourself up over not having all the answers. It's the fucking future. We don't have them all. That's part of it. Just accept that, and then make the best decision that you can with what you do have. And then we go in with curiosity, because you've got a 100% survival rate. And I don't think you give yourself enough credit for that.
Right.
How many other things you got a perfect score in life on, guys? Because you got a perfect score on survival, because you're not dead. That means every shitty thing you've ever been through wasn't shitty enough to kill you. You're too fucking tough to kill. You guys realize how fucking tough you are to kill, right? Because shit's tried. And you're still here. You guys are fucking tough as fuck. Did you guys forget that? Did you guys not do your math on your survival today? It's 100%, you bad motherfuckers. So, like, what's going to happen? Someone's going to betray you, Mark? Not my first rodeo. That's fine.
Right.
Okay. Well, I'll get through that. I got way more tools now to deal with it than I did the first time it happened, and I survived that shit. That's certainty, Mark. Certainty. I'll be certain that won't kill me. It's annoying, but it won't kill me.
Well, yeah, I guess that's probably part of the fear, is that like once there is uncertainty, then my imagination gets away from me.
Your superpower. Go in. So just practice the presence and the presence to just center you again, and then go back in on purpose. You let your power control you. But if you learn how to control this, it goes from panic attack to clairvoyance. I'm just looking into the futures and seeing how I can be prepared for it.
Gotcha.
That's it.
And
Now you're the most prepared instead of the most scared.
gotcha.
Do you see? This is an ability. It's not a disability. Society will have you convinced that you need drugs. You just need training. You have a superpower, dude. It's fucking incredible. You can look in the future, Mark. Isn't that fucking amazing? You can look in the fucking future. That's not fucking cool to you?
Yeah, that's fucking rad.
It's fucking
And-
rad, dude. You can
Yeah, I have no
dude,
focus, so
what are the possibilities that could
appreciate-
happen, dude? That's fucking cool.
yeah, I appreciate that perspective, man. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, you're not broken. You're brilliant. Stop going into there must be something wrong with me and go, how do I get good at this superpower? Practice, practice, practice. You don't have anxiety. You're just untrained on how to deal with it. Go into the future and see, what would I do? That's what I would do. And now I have curiosity to see what it is because I've handled everything that came up with way less training.
Gotcha.
You see? Keep making your map. I think you're doing something that's very good for your fighting style. You draw maps out. I can relate. Like draw maps out of how you operate and then start filling in the pieces. It's very cool what you're doing. So lean in on your fighting style. It's not right like me or right like George or Chris or Dan. Like it's right like you. And if you do a web and you fill in the gaps, that's awesome. Do your style.
Totally. Yeah, I'm like learning my study habits with this program specifically. It's a very different thing for me. So
Hell yeah. That's the idea. That's why you're here. You want different things. That's
yeah,
why
absolutely.
we're here, right?
Yeah.
Good. All right, Warriors, Kings. It's good to see you guys today. I'm going to shut it down. Mark, you guys are on mission. Write out as clearly and as much as you can to be able to go, what is my autopilot? What's the default program? This is an extremely powerful tool. So work on your mastery. Work on your mastery of, I am good at seeing me. I'm good at catching my behavior. I'm good at catching my reactions. I'm good at catching the way that I operate, not because there's something good, bad, right, or wrong. Remember, I don't need blame, shame, or judgment. I need observation. Oh, I do that shit. Oh, damn, I did that thing. Oh my God, that's me. And now I see it. It's too loud for me to ignore. That's it. It's not good or bad. You're not punished or wrong. It's just, oh, now I see it. There it is. And then once we get further in our training, I'm going to show you how to do all kinds of clever shit with it. Oh, well, it's that thing. Well, then you can do this or this. You're like, oh, good. Now I can see clearly my choice. Now I'll do it that way. You're like, you get way stronger because you know yourself. And then later on, I start showing you how to read the tapes and how these enemies work. So you get to see how the enemies fight. And then we get in the ring, fellas. Then I'm going to show you how to fight stuff. It gets fun when you're proficient. It gets fun when you know how to, I'll choke that bitch out. Like, yeah, it's not so scary when you choke them, right? It's not scary anymore. We untied your hands. It's way better. Now you can block again. Now you're good. It's pretty exciting. Cool. That gives you anxiety. You sixes, Gerald. All right. So it's good to hang with you guys. Go dominate this shit out of this weekend. I'll get to see my Warriors who are in Shield Wall or Spartans. I'll get to see you guys on Monday. And then for my Crown and Shield guys, I'll get to see you guys on Thursday. So we'll be going more in. So take this week and really catch your default program. Really catch it. Okay. All right. And Casper, I got to see your drawings. Hope you got your drawings going. Yeah, that's good, dude. Okay. Okay, my guy. All right, you got some skills in there. I have a thing for my middle daughter wants a tattoo. She wants it black and white, not crazy detail, but really nice still, which has got a sunrise with clouds, with just an elephant's head, like an elephant head, and then there are certain flowers. I'll get you some info and just come up with some cool ideas. I'll let her run it by you, and then just kind of draw some cool ideas out and have fun with it. Just have fun and just let your creativity ride a little bit. And I think it'll be a cool assignment. And if it feels good, I'll have my daughter tattoo it on her in a tasteful place, fellas. Tasteful place. She's only 17, so it's got to have my consent still. But I'm like Chris. I'm like, these are all tatted up over here. So I'm like, be tasteful. We'll get your tattoos. It's cool. As long as it's meaningful, which it is. She's put some thought into it. Cool. All right, Casper, I'll be in touch. All right, Warriors, go fucking dominate this week. I'll see you guys later. Ty, you want to close me out? Oh, where's your sound? Phil, do the thing.
And guys, as always, don't forget to write and like and subscribe.
Ty, your sound. Thanks,
I don't
Phil.
know. I love you, Ty.
Later, guys.